Halsey.
Welcome to the Calibrated cast, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 5. I am joined ever presently by my two co-hosts,
Matt, John,
and I am Ani. And our special guest today is, you've heard his name many times now before, the legendary Bryan Nguyen.
Woo! What's up, y'all? Also the coach of these two.
Bryan does coach me and John, and he coached Gil for a while, who was on the podcast last episode. We'll talk about that eventually, but I'm gonna just jump right into it. We usually start these things with like an origin story of how you got into lifting and how you got into powerlifting. So you can start however far back you want and just like start talking about yourself, essentially.
All right, so when I came out the womb, no. Okay, so I was always like a really big kid up until like probably say like sophomore year. I've always wanted to play like, football, basketball, all that stuff, but my mom was a nurse and then she was like, "Oh, you're gonna die if you play the sports." and then,
Wait, she actually said that?
Yeah. She was like, I've seen, kids your age, come in the hospital with concussions, all that stuff. So I don't want to.
That's right.
Yeah.
She works in the hospital.
Yeah, and she was like, I can't imagine, you being in the ER room or something like that.
Right.
And I was like, okay. But the closest sport I've played, or sports I've done is Taekwondo. And I only did that probably, I'd say for a year, up until I got my black belt. But that was like in middle school. But I started gaining weight, especially in 3rd grade. I remember that because everything started feeling tight. All the clothes weren't, fitting right in the right areas. And so, I like, no joke, I ate really unhealthy. At least for me, my Asian parents and my grandparents, they didn't help at all. They were like, "Oh, eat more till you're full," and then you can't leave any leftovers on the plate.
Oh,
yeah. And
but
so, yeah.
I think that's like with every household, if I'm not mistaken.
Or that was in my household, that's for sure. Like,
Yeah,
we had to finish
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And it was especially really bad at buffets because they would push me to like eat more and more. And I kid you not, like the most amount of plates I've gotten at a buffet is like 9 plates.
Holy crap.
Like
They said, and your parents said, get your money's worth.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that continued on for a long time. Like I would eat ramen for breakfast. Like the spicy, like Korean one. Yeah. And all throughout middle school, all throughout like high school. And then, so, you guys know that I did, like on the side, like I always liked, like dance, like hip hop. And so in 10th grade, I started to like dance, like just like, really anywhere, because I love music. And so I started at like 10th grade was when I started losing weight. I lost, I think, 30 pounds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I lost 30 pounds just from dancing. And then I gained it all back 11th grade.
Oof.
Yeah, I gained it. I think my highest recorded weight ever was 215 pounds. But I swear I was like maybe 225 or something like that. But yeah, and then I think my uncle and my grandparents had noticed, I'm a little too big, and then they were like, you know what, we gotta get him like a gym membership. And so they got me a gym membership, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was still young. I just want my grandpa. Or no, yeah, my grandpa and my uncle. My uncle worked out. Now my grandpa is pretty active too, but I'm pretty sure they didn't know what they were doing. But we just did random stuff. I got tired easily, and I was like, I don't like this. And I was really inconsistent at the gym. Like I really didn't care for the gym like at all. And then it fell off like probably 11th grade. Maybe I might have went to the gym like here and there in 10th grade, but anyways. So going to senior year was when I started taking lifting more seriously. Not powerlifting yet, because my friend Simeon, he's a boxer, and shouts to Simeon. he was the one who really pushed me like on a diet and then like going to the gym. And he made going to the gym like fun too. And I lost roughly about 50 pounds. I was 215 and then down to I think 165 or something like that. I think
That's
whatever
nice.
215 minus 50 was. Is
165.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so now thinking back now, it was pretty structured, like what I did in the gym, you know, your accessories, this and that. But we didn't really do, actually no, we did do, you know, squat, bench, deadlift, but you know, it was the typical max out like every week.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Yeah.
I love seeing those. I love seeing those.
So I kind of experienced my gym bro, you know, moment or phase for a little bit, maybe for like 1 year. But that was fun though. Those were really fun times, maxing out every week, you know, getting tired, getting like hurt, and then yeah. So I lost the weight, and the weight like I lost the weight because he wanted to get me ready for prom, and so long story short, I didn't ask the girls to prom. But I went with the bros though. That's all that mattered.
As long as you had fun.
Yeah, I had fun though. I had fun, and then after that I still went to the gym, lifted a little bit with Simeon, and then I saw you know him, Kevin Nguyen, 83. Yeah. So I saw Kevin. He was starting to arch on bench, and I was like, "Yo, what are you doing? Why are you benching like that?" And then he was
You're
like,
one of those.
yeah, I was like, you're one of those. You're not really benching like a man, but and he was like, yeah, it's like powerlifting or something like that. And then that's how I got into powerlifting. Like no joke.
What, that easy?
Mhm.
There was no like allure. You're just like, huh? That guy benches with a huge arch. I'm gonna do exactly what he does.
I actually no. I was really stubborn at first. I was like, I'm never gonna
Not gonna
bench
do a
with
whole
the
arch.
arch. Yeah. And then.
So what year was this?
2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah, I would say 2019. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when I
near the
get,
middle,
like,
near the
like
middle.
Your progression.
Yeah, and if you go look like all the way down on my Instagram account, my first post ever was like my first powerlifting post.
Ooh.
Like ever. Like it was my first time doing low bar. And then and then I started training with Kevin, and he taught me like some stuff. And then eventually he joined a gym called Progressive Overload Dallas. And I was like, oh, what is that place? It looks cool. Like, why are the plates, colored? And I went there and I met the owner. Shouts to David, and he really like showed me and helped me a lot in powerlifting. He taught me like how to sumo deadlift and this and that, and he's really helpful and very nice and very open, open to like helping people. Like you can literally go ask him like when he's doing his set or whatever, and he'll just help, and that's honestly like most of the info in the beginning, like like I guess how to squat, how to sumo, and kind of how to bench was like from David. He kind of set the foundations for all my lifts, and then after that I did more research and watched other videos and stuff, but yeah, Kevin and me had a lot of fun. When I joined Pod, I still maxed out relatively like
Oh no.
kind of yeah. If you go down my Instagram account, you'll see me like one of those like maxes like like at the top. And I never really yell. Yeah.
You're quiet.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm here. I am now.
So what about powerlifting really grabbed you and made it something that you wanted to pursue enough to like literally follow a guy to a gym just because it was a powerlifting gym? Was it just because you liked Kevin and you liked lifting with him and you kind of just were like, well, he's doing it, I'll do it? Or was it like something else that just drew you to powerlifting specifically?
I would say that's a really good question, actually, because I never really thought about that. What drew me, probably like before I knew powerlifting, when I thought of weightlifting, I always thought of like, the big guys, like I guess strongmen. And I never really imagined, someone who weighs, like 183, like Russell Orhe or Sean Rega, or, looking lean while lifting like that. And so I thought it was kind of cool. Because I always thought, you have to be, like, big, bulky to, like, lift a weight and all that stuff. And, obviously that's not true. And I think that really inspired me. And, like, honestly, like, hitting the PRs were fun,
Mm-hmm.
And that was a satisfaction. And also, like, going to the gym with Kevin, like, I mean, he's been my, one of my close friends back from home ever since middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And so, joking around with him all the time is really fun too. That's what made the gym really fun, especially when we went to Pod or 24-hour fitness. But yeah, I would say what drew me is honestly, I think I was imagining myself, being like, near the top level, like, I could be lean too and be really strong and be really cool like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what drew me towards powerlifting, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because back then, like at the time, I think when you think about powerlifting, or at least when I did, was the West Side crew. Mm-hmm. They're all big, they're all massive, they're lifting all that weight. So I think for me at least, like when I thought about powerlifting, it was West Side Barbell. It was those guys who were powerlifters, and then at the time I knew strongman, but I thought it was kind of back then. I thought it was kind of the same, but except you're adding endurance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, back then I get what you're saying. It's like, you just look at a guy, especially like Russell. You're like, he's probably like a bodybuilder, before even like looking at his counts or anything. He's like, he's probably like a bodybuilder, just like off season or something. Mm-hmm. But no, like he's a powerlifter. So I thought that's what kind of drew me into powerlifting as well, is seeing all these different bodies lifting heavy ass weight.
For sure.
So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also, like, for me, it was accessibility. I mean, all you need to powerlift is a barbell and some plates, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get on the ground floor. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's exploded in popularity in, like, the last decade, is because it's literally just all you need is a barbell and some plates, and every gym's got that. So that's what drew me in. And I love doing the lifts. Like, I love squat, I love bench, I love deadlift. Those are like 3 of my favorite lifts of all time. They're super fun. Mm-hmm. And, it's hard to look like an idiot doing them. So you always look cool. And they also build all the muscle. So, it's kind of like the best of every world, essentially. So, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But speaking on that too is, as you went on with powerlifting and as you grew more and more and learning more and everything, eventually, all of a sudden now you're coaching these two. So what was the point where you were kind of like, I actually want to start doing coaching now, like after all the knowledge you've gained? Tell us about the process. Like, you know what, I'm gonna start coaching. Your first client, you actually started coaching, and then being like now coaching these many people.
Okay. So I guess I'd say, because I've been only coaching probably I think almost a year now. Mm-hmm. Or just a year. I'm not too sure actually. But essentially I started coaching because I guess people started noticing, like, I have like good technique or whatever. Like, it seemed like I knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And so they came to me and they were like, hey, can you give me, tips on this and that? And then they were, I would give them like a tip or something like that. And then they were like, oh wow, it feels good. It makes sense or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I've always helping people. And I guess I like the satisfaction when, someone's like, happy that, something's going right. They learned something new. And what I think, I'm trying to think back, so I didn't have a first client. I told myself, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna try coaching a little. I'm gonna try it as a hobby. And I asked 5 of my 5 of my close friends. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna try this out, we'll see where this goes. You know, if you trust me enough, you know, let's do this or something. And you know, 5 of them hopped on, and I think 4 of them I think 4 or 5 are still like going at it. You know, they're still on the team on my my roster. But right now I'm only coaching I think 7 people, and then I think other people, but they don't powerlift. They just wanted to, you know, get a general like program, you know, just accessories or whatever. But I'd say that's how I started coaching. You know, people were like, "Oh, he knows what he's doing." Or you know, it seems like I knew what I was doing, and then I was like, I think I'm confident enough to like, you know, help people. Oh, well, I remember this now. I had wanted to coach, but I wasn't super confident in helping like technique wise with bench or something like that. And then I had, you know, learned more info on bench, and then that made my decision. I was like, I'm confident enough to, you know, help people with squat, bench, deadlift. And then that's what kickstarted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking on that too, is after coaching for almost a year now, tell me your thought process as far as programming for people. Mostly for what you've learned in the time of you've been coaching, coaching a different variety of people. You know, you've been training Gil, a little bit smaller person, compared to like John, who's a little bit bigger in a different weight class. Like, what have you learned throughout the time you've been coaching so far?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot. I've learned a lot, obviously, from like, you know, each athlete has like a certain need, or like some people want more of a like. Some people will get their program and be like, that's what's up, you know, and they don't need, you know, me being there physically, all that stuff. Some people do need me being there physically, emotionally, all that stuff. So everyone's different, you know, everyone I coach is different on what they need, you know, physically, emotionally, all that stuff. And then I think another thing that really played a big factor is, you know, I kind of have to think, because I don't know what I don't know what these guys are feeling all the time, and I can't control their lives and all that stuff. And so what opened my eyes was that everyone's really unique, and that's something I really like, because that's one of the things I like in general. Like I like, you know, meeting new people and like getting to know them, you know, where they came from, their, you know, history with, you know, sports, this and that, because that all plays a big role in, you know, your powerlifting, you know, your diet, this and that, what sports you played. And I think another thing I learned was that some people don't respond well to like certain rep ranges, and that you shouldn't follow like a fixated, like I'd say, program. You know, not everyone, let's say like, for example, not everyone can handle like, you know, 8 reps or something, a bench or something like that.
You hear that, Matt?
And and then it really like, it's a really broad answer. Like the answers I'll give is really broad, because there's so many things that factor in, you know, to the individual, that I got to think about, you know, how they're feeling that week, you know, what they did that day, the week before, this and that, at night. I asked these guys, you know, what they did, you know, hours before or the day before, this and that. And yeah, and for me personally as a coach, I don't like forcing people. Like if I've noticed, you know, like a bad habit, I'll point it out to an extent, but usually like maybe a few times. But me personally, I want my athletes to fix their problem. Like they need to understand the issue or the bad habits that they're having, and I want them to understand that they need to fix it, and they needed it, and they, if they don't fix it, they'll see the effects of, their bad habits, like in training. Mm-hmm. And I can only do so much and tell them, hey, don't do this, you should try this, or, try to reduce your, try to decrease your use of this or that, something like that. So, I think definitely, and coaching, I think, helped me communicate with people more too. So, there's a lot of things I've learned from, like trying to be a coach, all that stuff,
One thing I do like about you, though, like as a coach, is you make sure, you always ask us before we go to the gym, because you make sure that we text you. And it's like, but you'll always have like reminders, or at least with me, I don't know about you, Ani, but he would remind me, he's like, hey, make sure, you drink a certain amount of water if you, been walking around campus a lot. Or he, thankfully, I'm lucky enough to have him in class where he's like, hey, make sure you eat before going to the gym.
Taking a test, and then you see a note. Make sure you drink water. Motherfucker, we gonna get in trouble.
No, but like,
Make sure you warm up.
no, but he does text me throughout like the day, and so I was like, hey, like make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you have a decent meal inside of you. Make sure you're doing this and that. That's what I like about you as a coach, because I've never experienced that. I've had 2 coaches before you, and neither of them. Well, I'm not saying neither of them, but I know JP. He made us write down how much water we intake that day, rest, and all that. Maddie, I don't remember if he did that. I want to say, I think he does now, but before then, no. Mm-hmm. So, but I like the constant reminder, even though like I know it's already common sense and stuff, but it's always like a reminder. It's always nice to see that you're taking time out of your day to reach out to all your athletes and making sure that they're being taken care of, or make sure they're doing something. Because going across campus, I have to walk like 20 to 25 minutes to class from my bus stop, and sometimes I'll forget to drink water in class or eat or whatever. So it's a nice reminder. But I do have a question, and it's kind of, I don't know how you're gonna respond to it, but or Maddie, because this is a question about, because you're being coached by Maddie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then as a coach, when you see your program, how do you respond? Like in your mind, is it like a good program for you, or is there like certain things you wish you could change on your program?
So initially, I joined Big Matt because we actually started coaching at the same time, and he had asked me to join his team, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, because I believe bouncing ideas off each other, and I want to know why he programs certain things, this and that, and see his his perspective on things. And so that's one of the reasons why I joined Matty, to see his program and then ask him questions about this and that, and I have never doubted Maddie's programming. I'd always stuck with it, whatever he gave me. If I ever thought, or if I ever found something like weird, off, I'd ask him, and then he'd explain it, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because that gives me, I've never thought about that, and because some people, will just bring up these ideas that you've never heard before, and I'm like, oh, that's a good point. And then for me as a coach, I'm like, I could try this with an athlete, see if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, then we can try something else, And that's one thing, going back to your question, is that not every athlete will adapt to, the same program. Some people have to, have certain like sets or like their frequency on a certain lift, like benching maybe 3-4 times a week or something like that. Not everyone can handle that many days of benching. You have to consider you know, where they are they intermediate, are they a beginner, are they advanced,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, essentially with Maddie, I actually am like 95, not even like 98% of the time, I don't really question him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll point out, you know, I'll send him my video, he'll point out like the little faults he sees, you know, like let's say like, oh, I'm, you know, pushing on my heel more on squat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, I see that too. But yeah, I mean, I don't question it. If I do find something like weird, I'll just ask him and he'll answer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of curious because I don't know if like some coaches have like their philosophy and their things
Right.
they like to stick to. So I didn't know if like if he programmed you something and then you're like, well, I don't believe this kind of works, you know. So can we do something else?
Mm-hmm.
But now understanding that you're willing to give it a try and all that is
Yeah.
pretty cool that you're open minded, even though you're a coach yourself.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a nice idea, just to bounce ideas back and forth with each other, because there's something that you might know that he doesn't, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So
To elaborate on like I guess your question, but one thing I do remember was that he rarely programmed like eights. At least for me, he never programmed eights on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the one who kind of told him like, hey, let's try eights, especially on deadlift, you know, because I think, you know,
Especially on deadlift. So
Yeah.
this is the inception of the 8-rep deadlift sets.
because
Oh my goodness.
because I think it's important to
they
you know,
suck.
but
They suck. I'm gonna say that they suck because I pull a hook grip,
Oh yeah, that's even worse for
and
you.
then we talked about ditching the figure eights because I'm conventional, and then on top of that, I get a better brace up top before lifting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're ditching the figure eights.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I really feel like a
That's why I switched to what you call it. I mean, I do mixed grip now, just mostly because of grip. I have a stronger grip with mixed rather than hook. But yeah, speaking on the figure eights, I remember people telling me it's like, don't use figure eights. Like, use like the what you call it, like the
extra
multi
straps.
one was like where you wrap it yourself. I know that one just because with the problem with the figure eights is mostly just because of sometimes you'll just let it hang loose sometimes when you're just like okay, and then you'll just instead rely on the strap itself to hold it on for you.
Oh, that makes sense because I end up doing that at the maybe last 2 reps.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Last
like
2
you'll
reps.
let it start to hang loose more
Well,
than
it's
what you
because
think.
it starts to slip because when I try to do figure eights, I can't loop my thumb around because it's too big. So I'll be gripping the bar like essentially
Yeah.
like this, you know. So I just suicide grip it and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's starting to make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we're ditching the straps and we're gonna just Hail Mary, because I physically can't do the mixed grip anymore. I started off with mixed grip. Now, when I set up mixed grip, it just feels weird, regardless of which way it is.
Mhm.
It just feels weird. I'm now just a naturally double overhand person. I cannot do mixed grip.
But staying on the topic again with, as you said, it's like everyone's different. Of course, doing eights on deadlift suck. It does, especially if you have
When they're paused.
especially if it's like paused or something. Do you program pause?
He died.
Oh, he does. That sucks. Well, speaking of which, again, as we are saying, it's important to have a better understanding about your client and knowing what are they good at giving. What are you good at giving to them so that they can adapt more and get better. But speaking on that, we can speak on what are your thoughts as far as the client and coach relationship and knowing more about your client and how important it is to know how much you know about the client and seeing what works best for them.
So I think it's really important to have a good relationship with your clients. I do know some coaches who, in my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea, but they'll just take on someone and then they'll receive the monthly payment and that's that. They just give feedback, this and that. But I really do think it's important to build some type of friendship with your clients. because I don't think they're just just money or whatever. I mean, you guys know I don't charge until like summer, and summer's just 10 a month. But I believe personally, like the like powerlifting experience, lifting experience, whatever type of coach you get, Olympic lifting, whatever. I think it's really important to form like a friendship because it would just make the journey more fun. And I think just keeping it really like distant, like hey, you need to fix this and that. All right, give me $50 every month. All right. I think that's a little like boring, And I mean, yeah, I just think building a friendship is really important.
I think it's very important. I mean, especially when you're introduced to a lot of the more popular coaches. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, Joey Flex, and how he seems like he has like a very big relationship with his competitors.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some people who it's like, you just give them a program and then they'll be fine without, you just let them be. Like, they understand what to do. You give them the program, they're like, all right, you don't have to tell me nothing, I'm set. And they'll be good to go. But there are some people it's like, they need that, like, feedback. They need that critique.
Right,
so they know okay, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
And if not, it's gonna be like, I don't trust this person because they're not really giving me anything out of it.
And going back like a while back, that's like that correlates with. I just had a brain fart.
Is it with like an experience with one coach you had?
No, it's damn, bro, y'all gonna have to cut this out.
All right, well, we'll follow up with the question that I have. So you said obviously having a good relationship with your athlete is very important. Obviously, there's a such thing as too much of a relationship. How far do you go? Like, obviously you don't want to be like best friends. Like, hey man, let's go out. Let's have a couple beers or whatever. I mean, obviously maybe
we've all had beers with Bryan.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. But no, I'm saying for someone new, somebody new, like somebody new you just took on. How do you start building that relationship, and then how far do you go?
Yeah, well, for me, as you guys know, I don't accept just anyone.
Right.
Right.
And I try to find the. Well, also, like, when I talk to them and get to know them a little bit first before, I accept them. I want to see their perspective on things and, like, their personality, And then I also ask, I ask you guys, like, what's your relationship status, this and that. And, history, all that stuff. And, I mean, if a friendship forms even stronger, that's what's up. If a client doesn't like that and they start noticing that, then they can they can tell me about it. At the end of the day, though, I do form a friendship. Obviously, I do want to form a good, strong relationship, a good friendship with them, with my athletes. And if they want to hang out more, then I'm down to hang out more. That's the end of it, really. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever felt that a relationship was stepping over? I know that your experience is limited, but like, you ever been with a client and you had to tell them, like, bro, you relax, like, I'm just your coach, like, have you ever had a relationship?
Whoa, step bro.
I'm guessing maybe like what he said, like he's saying is like they've gone to the point where it's like they start telling you way too much information. Is that what you're trying to say?
I know. I've been told that I emotionally dump on people. Okay. So I'm just going to know if you've ever experienced something, maybe me, maybe not me, or just in general, like, have you ever had a client step over a boundary that you felt was like, it started to make you uncomfortable, or you started to be like, you started to be like, man, this is...
We're not there yet.
We're either we're not there yet, or I don't want to be there with you. Like, I am just your coach.
Not at all. Not yet. Seems like it's
you got time on you.
No, but I always ask my guys, if they feel comfortable sharing with something, they can, and if they don't, that's totally fine, because I'm also trying to keep this professional as well. Especially these guys, I didn't know them personally. The people I coached, like the first 5 people, were people like I knew, like knew. And then with these guys, I knew you a little bit, a little bit, but not too much.
I think we've been friends for
freshman year.
Yeah, your freshman year. And
yeah.
So what? Like,
but we
two and some change.
Yeah. I think ever since I joined the powerlifting team, which was my second semester of freshman. You joined the first semester.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I was busy. Was crack. But let's say with Ani, like I didn't know him at all, and that's why I do these kind of like mini interviews with them, just to get to know them, all that stuff. And I know it's a little cliche, but when I met Ani, like during tryouts, I felt like this aura, like he was a really genuinely good and interesting person. And so
that is true.
That was my first impression, and then I had to know for sure on the interview. Or in the interview, sorry. And he gave a good impression, and I liked him enough, and I'm coaching him now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You weren't mad at me for at tryouts benching 3 reds with like a bunch of blues and a green or something like that.
No, I mean it was like we told everyone that was trying out, like, you can max if you want. If you have a program, you can stick to it.
No, but I was like, I benched 385 with like 3 blues and like a green and something else.
385.
Yeah.
You benched 385?
No, a squat. Sorry, my bad.
I was about to say.
I was thinking,
No.
Interesting.
Actually, I benched 325 at the trials. Just saying.
Whoa, hey!
But I only deadlifted like 385 as well. So it's like,
okay.
But shit. Now I lost my train of thought.
To be honest, I was intimidated by you a little bit.
Me?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
This is a beard.
No. No, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I was like, hey man, what's up? You'd be like, who are you?
I get 2 first impressions from people of me. They're like, either I'm like a teddy bear and I'm like the sweetest, softest person in the world, or I'm like angry, really just like brooding, like, I hate everybody in this room, including myself. So yeah, I guess I can see that.
I was gonna say the second one, but I wanted to keep it a little down low. But no, I mean, it makes sense. Now that I know you personally, it's just like, not so bad after all.
Right.
Well, on that note as well, whenever it's like getting to know the client, knowing them, with your experiences with these 2, of course, and everything, and getting to know them more. I think for me personally, I think it is also a good thing to have, because you also have to think about the mental and emotional stressors they can have too, whenever it comes down to a whole bunch of things. Them telling you, throughout the week, maybe they've been having like a bad day, a relationship, have problems, like that week, that can play a factor too. I think like those things can play a factor too, and I feel like that's another important thing to know about your client. So you can be like, hey, what's going on? Why are you plateauing pretty bad? I think it's important for a client and a coach to like have an understanding of like, there's a point of being professional, but also letting the coach know whether or not, telling him what's going on,
right,
telling him the truth, and being like, hey, today I've been, having a little bit of tendonitis or something, or I've been having this problem.
Yeah, I just smoked like 12 packs the other day.
And just like letting them know so that they could be like, okay, so I know for sure that this week it's not that great, but next week will be more refreshed, and we can have go from there. But
well, I try to remind these guys sometimes, and most people, when they like have a bad day at the gym, they'll blame it on strength or like technique or whatever. But usually, at least for college students, it's their lifestyle and what they did the day before, a week before, this and that. And it's something they have to try to manage. And obviously, as college students, it's really hard to manage life already. you know, because we're taking all these classes, this and that, managing, you know, friendships, relationships, work, you know. And I always tell my guys, you know, just do your best. And I do notice from the videos they send me, you know, I will notice, I'm like, they're hitting the same weight again, or something's not right. And then I'll ask them, because I don't want to picnic at them every single day. Like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, or what you eat? You know, but when I start noticing these things, you know, these possible bad habits, I will text them, you know, or call them and be like, hey, you know, is everything all right? Or what did you do this week? Because numbers aren't looking too well this week, or this and that. Because, you know, you got many outside factors like school stress, you know, that plays a big role too. And believe it or not, like how your body moves throughout the day. Like, are you walking a lot? Are you standing a lot at school, work, this and that? Because that can affect your joints, this and that. And then you have to manage that, you know, after you're done with work, school, you know, rest up a little bit. But yeah, I do, you know, I do notice when something goes bad, I'll ask them, and typically most of the time it's really not strength, it's just their, you know, ADL, you know, activity of daily living or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a very important thing to know as far as a coach goes, is knowing more about, okay, what is the client going through, like, throughout the week. That's a very important thing in my opinion, that I think coaches really need to understand, especially powerlifting coaches, because not every day is always going to be the same. And that's the one thing I learned too, early on with it, is people telling us, like, every now and then there's going to be days where it's like, it's not going to feel good. Like, some days it'll not be great. The numbers will either go down the next week, might be either the day before or whatever it may be, but it's kind of like understanding, like, hey, well, maybe because you went all out like the day before, you had, you know, had a very taxing day on deadlifts. Now you're trying to do squat the next day. It's like, well, yeah, it's not going to be that great, but that's up to the coach and being like, hey, like, that's why I programmed you, you know, less reps and an easier RPE the next day, because I know you're going to be taxed out on deadlifts the day before. So
right, yeah. And it doesn't have to be, you know, your, you know, daily life, like, you know, what you did yesterday, this and that. It could be the program itself, you know. Maybe they don't do well, you know, after, you know, if they have deadlifts this day and then they have to squat the next day, maybe they don't do well. Some do, some don't. And that's like one thing I like about coaching. It's like, you know, you're figuring out all these things. I think it's really fun, you know, trying to figure out what works for people. And then when it works, you see them succeed. And then that's, you know, I get the joy, you know, that's where I get my enjoyment from, you know, seeing my guys be happy, hit PRs, or just, you know, feel accomplished with, you know, it can be like a little task or something like that. But yeah, I always enjoy seeing them happy. That's what makes coaching fun.
That's true. I can tell that you actually enjoy helping other people, because after my meet on my last deadlift, how excited you were.
I remember that too.
Yeah. How excited you were. We'll probably throw in the clip here, but the joy and the excitement that came from this guy was, I've never seen him before in my life. Not even with other lifters.
A freaking voice cracked.
His voice cracked, everything. He's jumping up and down on the camera. You see it just like that.
Well, y'all had a tumultuous peak, so
that peak was nice.
Yeah. And then at the end, that taper was just
that taper was not it.
So to see you go into that meet and just be so successful was probably. I mean, I felt happy for you.
Like everyone around me was, like, especially like my close group of friends, like they've known like how this prep. I mean, well, not even the prep, just like how like the last few weeks of prepping for this meet was so draining on me physically and mentally. I've honestly, bro, I think that was more harder than an XPhys test, you know? Like, I don't know. Like that was more mentally like struggling than anything.
Right.
You know, so that was pretty nice to have. You know, it was pretty nice to have at the end of the day. So.
You know, I want to talk about, speaking of meets, about your meet history, because I've only known you as a coach as well as an athlete, right? But was there a time when you were just an athlete and you just competed? Did you ever do any meets before you coached? I guess it's my first question. And then like talk about, maybe I don't want to throw a bunch of stuff at you to remember, but like I wanted to kind of see like how you approached meets when it was just you versus when it's you and now you have to handle people, or you know, you're prepping not just yourself but you know 4 or 5 other people for a meet at the same time, or you know, like, so I guess we'll start. Did you compete at all before you were a coach?
Before I was coached?
Yes. No, before you were a coach.
Oh, we're a coach. No. I was a coach, and
Damn. So you've done all your meets while being a coach?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think C Cup, right?
That was your first one?
Wait. I'm trying to remember now, bro.
I think
I've done
so.
2 meets so far. Right?
You've done 2 meets?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
so
did-
there was
I
a
think
meet
you-
before
So I did
C-Cup.
so the latest one was C Cup, and the last one was Texas Open. Okay,
That's
there we go. Okay,
right.
I remember. Was I coaching at that time? I was coaching at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any athletes on that day?
No, it's just about
Okay.
myself.
So
Oh
I
my
guess
God.
we'll compare the two then.
Yeah. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
Okay. So Texas Open,
Okay.
it's just you. You prepared yourself versus Collegiate Cup, when I know that you had to do Gil on the same day at least, and then you had me the next day. So talk about how you approached Texas Open and like when it was just you, and then talk about how you had to approach Collegiate Cup when it's not just you, it's 2 other people,
Okay.
as well as yourself.
Yeah. So Texas Open. So the very first meet I ever went to and ever experienced was the Sandoval rookie meet, and I had handled Logan for his first meet.
Shout out to Logan, by the way. Oh
So,
my
yeah.
god,
Dude is a
man.
monster.
He
He's
is a monster.
so good.
He's
I look up to him, low key.
he's one of the most hardest working people I know, and very strict on like his lifestyle, especially his diet. He's very healthy. But besides that, it was his first meet. It was my first meet ever too, handling. And I told him, you know, this is gonna be experience for both of us. You know, let's try it out. Let's do this. You know, let's see how it goes. And it was very interesting. And if you haven't been to Sandoval, by the way, I love you, Sandoval. But his gym is relatively a little small. But I heard they're expanding. Maybe, don't quote me on that. But the warm up room was very tight, and it was the hardest thing about, at least for me at the time, for my first meet, for Logan's meet, the hardest thing was timing warm ups. That was the most like nerve wracking thing, because you want to warm up, you don't want to warm up to like when you're about to go on the platform.
Right.
You almost did, I think, for one of the lifts. But I managed to squeeze 5 minutes between when he goes or something like that.
Yeah.
But timing is really nerve wracking for me, especially that first meet. Seeing where he is at on the board on the screen was, it's easy, but it was just by myself, so I had to run back and forth, looking, making sure, and looking on lifting cast too. And he ended up getting 3rd place, I believe. I think he was close to 2nd. I'm not sure. But yeah, he went, I think 7 for 9, something like that. Our first meet ever, my first time ever handling someone, and it was fun. I could say it was fun. It was definitely taxing though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because it would have been less taxing if I got more sleep. I was running on, I think, 2 hours of sleep, and I had to drive from Samo to Katy, Texas.
Hey, you do this all the time. Why don't you sleep, bro?
I don't know. I get nervous before the meet. I don't know why. Like when I'm handling, I get nervous. I don't know. Anyways, Yeah, and then I almost died like driving back because I was like, you know, I was like,
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
1 more hour, and I was like, oh crap, and I had to stop like I think 3 times at a gas station just to like nap for like 10 minutes or something. But fortunately, I'm here.
Still alive.
Oh my gosh.
And
In the flesh.
in the flesh, and yeah, and then talking about Collegiate Cup where I had to handle Gil
And
and compete and Ani. Did I handle someone else my day too?
Yes, you did. You actually.
Oh, that's right.
You
helped out
handled
another guy.
Preston.
I helped out Preston because he didn't have a handler and I felt bad.
This dude's by himself.
Yeah, so I had to handle Gil. So Gil was the first, first session or something because he was, a lighter weight, and I before going to the meet, I knew I was gonna be challenged, because I had to compete too, and I want to do relatively well, and I had numbers in mind, all that stuff. But I was like, oh no, I had to handle 3 people that same day. I remember now.
Yeah, there was another person there.
Yeah, Angelo.
Angelo.
I forgot.
That's
Yeah, he did
right.
another person.
Yeah. So I handled Gil.
Was he in your class?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Imagine lifting.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, come here. Take
Dog.
off.
Okay. Story.
Singlet,
Tell the
everything.
story. I want to hear it.
Okay, so yeah, I had to handle Gil, Angelo, and Preston. Originally, it was just supposed to be Gil and Angelo, but I felt bad for Preston because he didn't have anyone to handle, and I knew he was prepping, a lot, and no one. It didn't seem like anyone was willing to help, I guess, or everyone seemed busy with someone. Like everyone had a handler, everyone had an athlete, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I literally made up an outline. My my little clipboard thing. So I made a ghetto version of that. I literally just,
It was just it's
clipboard.
Preston's lips in the corner, bottom left corner is just it's just a little 2x2 square. All right, opener.
I mean, Preston has it. I don't know if he still has it, but I gave the plan the plan sheet to him. But essentially, so rewind a little bit. Mentally, I was a little stressed out. I'm like, how is this gonna happen? But I had thought about everything first. Okay, I'm like, okay, Gil's this whole separate session. He's in the morning, and so for me, I knew I was gonna be moving around a lot, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring Gatorade or pasta or whatever. I had brought two pastas, the same thing, lean meat or something like that, and then because I knew I was gonna get hungry or something like that, and I had to weigh in too. So I actually I think I starved myself. I sipped a few sips of water when handling Gil, but I never ate or touched anything because I wanted to make weight. Oh, I was gonna make weight anyway because I think I was weighing 178, so I was underweight. Yeah, but anyways, I was kind of stressed out, but I was like, we'll see how it goes. I just do my best. And so, day of Collegiate Cup, I arrived with Gil was there, I was there, and did the game plan, weigh in, this and that, making sure he was okay, making sure he was down, eating his food, recomping, Gatorade, Pedialyte, whatever. And then Gil's session went smoothly. It went great. And then now comes the little bit more tough part. I'm sorry. I handled Gil, Angelo, Gil and Angelo that on Saturday. You and Preston were on Sunday.
Yes.
There we go. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, the big
Because
ones.
Preston's so Gil was done, and then now it's me and Angelo. So luckily, Angelo's powerlifting president, shouts to Josh. Thank you so much, Josh. He helped out a lot because I had to focus. I had to zone in too. Me and Angelo warmed up, same area and everything like that. So I could manage Angelo. That was easy. The only thing, I had all the warm-ups planned out too. It was just for Josh to the only thing Josh had to do was time warm-ups. And I had wrote all the warm-ups, how many reps, this and that. And then but most of the time when it was me and Angelo's turn, I would watch him, time to time, talk to him too. For me, at meets, I'm not a super quiet person. I'll be talkative and all that stuff, But I guess when I start warming up, I am kind of semi-serious. But I was joking around with Angeles and having fun, and then we were warming up, and then it was time to go, And how it worked was because my openers and numbers in general were lower than Angelo, so I would go first. And then once I'm done, once I stepped off the platform, he was right after. And so Josh would hand me back my clipboard because I gave it to him so he could see Angelo's numbers. And then right when I was done, I watched Angelo and it called his numbers. Mm-hmm. That's how it worked with me and Angelo. And then my meet experience at C Cup it went really well, honestly. It was I got a 50 kilo PR, meet PR in total. So all my openers were PRs, and then everything was honestly like a PR. No all-time PRs, I think. Yeah, no all-time PRs, but my last attempts were really big from my last meet. So, yeah, it went well for me. And then the next day, I handled Ani and Preston. Mm-hmm. And I believe Preston went first, right? And then you went.
Yeah, he's
because I had Gil warm you up.
Yes, Gil had me in the warm-up room.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, shouts to Gil.
Yeah, shouts to Gil. Thank you, Gil. Mm-hmm. And my stress had gone down a little bit more because I knew what Collegiate Cup would be like the second day. Mm-hmm. I knew where things were, so I knew how to run around and manage stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was less stressed. Now for me, I was just, all right. It's just handling mode time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about eating, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I didn't feel manage my fatigue,
right?
Or whatever. But so original plan was for me just to handle Ani, and then Preston came in with no one, no handler, and then I was just talking to him, and I was like, "So who's handling?" He was like, "I don't know. Should I be having someone?"
Oh man!
And then I was like, "What are your openers?" He's like, "I'm thinking this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, he doesn't know his openers, this and that." And I was like, "I can handle you if you want." He was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I wrote him a quick plan, 15 minutes. I pulled up on Google the weight sheet, the USAPL weight chart, and I was talking to Preston, what are you comfortable with? How fast is this weight, this and that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll open up with this then. And the only downside, I have never trained with Preston, rarely, I only see him 2 times or something. So I don't know how his training style is. I don't know how he pauses, things, and how he utilizes technique, whatever, Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting for me. I wanted to play it safe. I wanted him to go 9 for 9. I think he did. Yeah, he went 9 for 9, I think. I know he got first place.
He did.
Yeah.
He did get 9 for 9. And
I think he...
Some crazy lifts, too.
He was, 10 pounds away from 1,500, a total of 1,500. I didn't, on all his thirds, I could have put more on the bar.
Yeah.
But obviously, the restriction for me was I didn't,
No.
I don't know his truth. Yeah. Actually, I think he PR'd on everything.
He did.
He PR'd on everything.
Maybe not bench.
Everything except for bench.
Okay.
Because he hit 405.
Mm.
Wait, did he
No,
hit?
It was
in the
post.
gym.
It was after 405.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right. I believe I gave him...
You gave him 385.
385. Yeah. And he had PR and everything because I don't coach him or train him, so my main goal was to get him 9 for 9. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if he would place or not, so I
just ends up winning.
yeah. I was like, that's cool, that's what's up. Mm-hmm. And then the man offered me to pay me. And I was like, no, man, I'm good. My satisfaction is seeing you happy. That's it. And so going back to Ani's experience, I really felt bad because I really wanted to handle Ani, but luckily Gil was there, and Gil was up for the task to help Ani warm up, and I had given Gil the warm up sheet as well, so he knew what numbers to put on, this and that. So that helped lower Gil's stress. And right after Preston was done, I told Gil to bring Ani towards near the stage so I could start handling and managing Ani now. Fanning Ani, making sure, he was okay, feeling good, if he needs to go to the restroom. And when it was time to go, I hype him up, chalk him up, whatever. And we went. What did you? 8 for 9.
Yeah, I was the last deadlift.
Yeah, we went 8 for 9, and I was really proud of him because he had, I don't know, I think you talked about it. He had like an injury, like I think a week before, and then it was something.
Here's the timeline, okay? Because it's not just the fact that I had an injury a week before. It was the fact that I came to you out of nowhere, right? Like we had no relationship whatsoever.
Finger fracture.
Yeah, and I had busted my finger open. It wasn't a fracture, thank God. It was just surface level. But I busted my finger open. I hadn't been able to do the big 3 for like 10 days before I came to you. On top of that, it was a 7-week prep. We prepped for that meet in 7 weeks. And then I had the little sciatic problem a week out after taking my last squat, the heaviest squat that I took. So I missed a bench. I don't even remember what we did for deadlifts. I think that was okay at that time, but it was still like, I missed. I would have gotten red lighted on it.
429.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I'm talking way too fast here. But yeah, the fact that you were able to get me, that you were willing to the 7-week peak or the prep, enough, or by itself would have probably been enough for some guy to be like, yeah, maybe this one you don't do. You either skip or, hey, I'm not going to take you if you're going to try to do this in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But that enough. But on top of that, with the injury, and then the injury a week out, and then me having to cut 5.5 pounds the week moving up, because I wasn't gonna make weight, and I made weight by the skin of my teeth. It was literally 0.1 kilos away from being over. Yeah. It's a testament to the resolve that both of us must have had.
We had a very long discussion about the risks, what your expectation and goals were going into that meet. We had a real talk, and I was like, because you really wanted to do the meet, I believe. And I was like, and I explained to him 7 weeks isn't really enough, and because you had a finger cut and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we both agreed. We were like, we'll just give it our best shot and at least try, and not give up and have fun too. And so it worked out. He did really well at the meet.
Yeah, I matched all of my bests from training.
Yeah,
every single one of them. And I hit all-time PR on deadlift and squat. I didn't hit all-time PR on bench, but that's okay. And then I would have hit a bigger PR on deadlift if I didn't get called on that third for what I felt was kind of, a very strict, maybe bullshit call. But hey, I'll take that with me to the grave until I pull 430 and comp again.
So, oh my God, English. Was I your last athlete that you handled at a meet so far?
Oh, at the latest meet?
Yeah. Is he the latest one that you
Yeah.
So what is the experience compared to our last meet with your first meet? It's obviously it's gonna be
I guess
more smooth.
Yeah, maybe you're asking how has he grown as a handler and a coach during a meet?
Yeah. It's easier and it's more fun. less stress, because that's why I have the clipboard with me. It's my whole plan, and I have a backup plan too. If anything goes wrong. And so I'm just there, handling y'all, making sure you guys are okay, having fun with y'all or other people there too. But yeah, my first meet I ever handled, I was very stressed, and I learned a lot from that meet. And then now for the future meets, it's easy. I mean, it's fun,
Yeah.
I would still say the thing that would be difficult would be the warm-up timing too. Because you never know the amount of people and how many racks the venue or the gym provides at the meet, and you have to work in with some people.
Yeah.
And I wanna get you guys to warm up on time.
Right. Thankfully.
So that's the hard part still. But everything else is really easy though. Seeing where they're at, on the line when they're about to go, that's easy. So
thankfully, if we do compete at TSS, it's a big venue, so it's.
And I've been there like I think 4 times now. So I know the whole place.
Yeah.
Yes. I know all the bathrooms.
Their secret bathroom. I don't know if you know.
Oh my gosh! But out of this whole experience with C Cup, coaching these two and your own meets as well, competing, as a coach, what is the biggest things you've learned out of it, and what are the biggest keys that you can give to other people as well who want to be coaches too?
I'd say my biggest tip if you want to be a coach is you want to like learn more. Don't be complacent with what you know already. There's always new info coming out about maybe like the body, technique or whatever, and don't be afraid to be embarrassed or say I don't know. If you don't know, just say you don't know. But just be honest with your clients. That's probably the best thing. Just be honest with your clients. If you know or you don't know what to do, for me, I'm still learning. I read, watch videos about programming technique, especially biomechanics, this and that, certain types of warm-ups, and I try them and I let my guys know, hey, we're gonna try this out, let's see if it works or not, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But don't be afraid to try new things and be communicative with your clients and be honest with them, and be okay with being embarrassed.
Yeah. I think that goes both ways, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways because especially with us, you and I, with squat, I've always hated the thumbs over my fingers when squatting, and now that we've done it, I'm like, oh, it's not so bad, So I think it definitely goes both ways with being a client or being the coach. So
I have a question. And I don't really know. I mean, this could be just like it could have no effect, but like I wanted to know: has being a coach affected the way that you are a client? Because so now that you're a coach and you've had the experience of sort of being on the other side of that wall, has that affected the way that you communicate or you approach issues or things with Big Matt?
Yeah, most definitely. Learning more new info, more like I guess technique stuff, and if Matt sees something like if he sees some things that out of place, or something that is out of place, sorry, in English, he'll say this, and then I'll question it. I'll be like, well, why don't we try this? And it's with like a new info I learned or something like that. And then we'll, talk about it with it. He'll, either agree or disagree with me, this and that. But at the end of the day, there shouldn't be, like, we're not arguing. It's just sharing ideas, But yeah, I definitely, like, I think more about what he gives me, I'm more, I guess I'm more aware. Like, I'm trying to see what he's doing. When I just joined, I didn't really pay mind to him. Like, okay, I'll do this. And then now, well, not really now, but like when I got more, experience as a coach, I'm like, oh, why is he doing this and that? So,
So are you like, you're basically questioning to learn from it? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just trying to get his perspective on things. Yeah.
I think it's like, that's a good thing to have, and I think it's also something you can learn as a coach too, because it's kind of like once you gain an understanding of, especially if you are being coached, it's like now you can be like, oh, why are you giving me these certain like exercises, like whether it's maybe like instead you've never done it before, maybe like split squats. I've never done split squats before, like with dumbbells and everything, and I was like, oh fuck, oh man, this sucks. And then now it's like, now I have understanding. It's like, oh, I've gotten way stronger with squats ever since doing it. Now, even though it is taxing, it's kind of like, you start to realize those exercises that you've been doing, especially if you don't like them, and why your coach is programmed to you, they'll be like, hey, if it's helping out, then why should you question it, you know? But, I mean, then again, it's also from just kind of experimenting, especially as a coach, being like, well, let's try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll just take it out, you know? But I think it's very important, especially if you are going to be coached, and be like, okay, now you can gain an understanding of why they're programming you with that.
Right.
So
another thing I did notice, especially with Maddie, it was I would either get GHR or split squats, but never both at the same time. And I was like, this is interesting. Yeah. And then for like the longest time, he basically just ditched out split squats and went with GHR. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I was kind of benefiting from both, but I don't know. I don't know the reason. I never asked them. I should have asked them, but I never asked them. I guess I was just like that client who didn't question, because at the time, I mean, I still do. I still have like a lot of trust in Maddie. Like, people ask me, it's like, hey, I don't know a good coach. Dude, JP or Maddie. I always send both to either of them, because I like to recommend multiple coaches, is because each coach has a different personality. You know, each coach has a different style, yeah, a different style, and you don't know which one. You don't want to go with the first one that you're given. You always want to explore more, and then find what's best for you. So,
well, out of all the things we've been talking about is with programming and everything, what do you feel is like the most stressful, as far as after being a coach now? It's like being stressful as far as like, now you have to know each and every client. Is being like, now when you're setting up a new, let's say for another scenario is you're setting up a new program for the week, right? And now you have to be like, programming, like, for example, Gil, and then you have to go and program John. It's like, oh fuck. Well, what did he? Well, this will work. Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm curious how you set that up for each client, and trying to be like specific with how you program this person compared to the next.
Yeah. So that's why I had them send me, videos, and I can go back, and watch the videos. And also, you guys know on your Google Sheets, there's a sheet each week, and so that's data that I can use and look back. I'm like, oh, he hit this number, and so I can try this next week or move on to the thing. And I also have in my notes like plans of like their blocks, like what I have planned out already, like what's gonna be this week, and this week. But obviously, things can change. Like, let's say someone has, like they have stomach issues, or something's a family emergency and they have to go back home. They have to skip, the gym, and so I'll readapt. I try to adapt. I guess the off week, or the week that they can't attend the gym, and we'll formulate. We'll plan something. I'm never gonna be like, oh, well, that sucks. Okay, just you got to keep doing the same thing. I feel like it's really important to like adapt to your client's need. If they're if they're in the hospital for some reason, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to have a plan. You have to plan like their comeback. Carefully, and you don't want to just start where you left off. Like if you had to skip your weekly singles of 6, or like a week of like singles at 6, you don't want to like, and then they go to the hospital. You don't just say them like, hey, I know
you're back.
You just left the ER, but you still have to hit these 7s now. Yeah, that's it's not a good idea. But and I always, and I know these two know that I always stress to them, and you don't have to go in detail, but if you can't go to the gym, just let me know. It can be any reason. You don't have to go in detail. Be like, hey, can't go to the gym today because I have a lot of homework. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I'll go back to the program and see if they have enough time to make up for it, or if they don't, then I have to reformulate the whole plan. But essentially, I have in my notes like each athlete's like, you know, their what block they're on, this and that, what's gonna happen in the future, and all that stuff. Yeah.
I can only imagine what it is like right now, how you are as a coach, and then thinking about how you started. Has there been a few things where you're like, why did I do that as a coach? It's like I really did that. I programmed like this.
Yeah. Most definitely.
What was the things you really remembered? Because I know like some coaches will be like, I basically give the same thing to each and every person, and hoping it works to God.
It definitely changed. If you ask the OGs and go back and look at their Google Sheets, it's really different.
Yeah.
Especially the accessories and all that stuff, and rep schemes. I would say, like when I started coaching, I had them do like 55-minute barbell curls. No, but
That's so mean.
What is it? Overhead press. Heavy overhead press. Maxed out.
Yeah, it was really different though. I'm trying to think of one. I can't really think at the top of my head right now, but I would say most definitely the rep schemes and accessories were really different, and the amount of them and all that stuff were really different when I started coaching. Yeah.
Okay. I know. Like that's for me. I was just kind of like right now, especially. It's one of the things I need to figure out too, especially as a coach, and that's why I asked, like, you know, Big Man. It's like, as far as me wanting to be a coach too, it's like kind of like getting an understanding of why certain coaches program a certain way, and kind of getting an understanding of how he programs me too. I think it'll be helpful to, as in the future, being a coach and everything, and seeing, you know, each and everyone's perspective of how they coach and how they program things and why they program certain rep ranges too. Especially right now, learning that in resistance training class that I'm taking. But as far as being a coach, what was the most, I would say, most stressful thing whenever it comes down to being a powerlifting coach? What do you think is the most stressful, as far as like maybe whenever it was like programming for a certain person because maybe they had, you know, injury or anything, or maybe it was at like your first meet where it's like timing warm-ups. What has been the most stressful?
I think honestly, like the instant thing that came into my mind was I was pretty stressed out when I was coaching 10 people because they were going at different times, and I was a student too and working, and I can't reply to them right away, and that was really stressful honestly because I would have to reply late, you know, and I know how it feels to, like, you know, I know y'all don't want like a late response, and I try my best to, you know, respond to y'all as quick as possible, and you know that's not always the case. And that's why I have you guys text me like, hey, I'm about to go to the gym, because I could be at school or doing something, but at least I'll know, like, or at least try to remember, you know, that hey, they're at the gym, you know, so be on the lookout on your phone. But that was I remember that was pretty stressful actually. Just coaching 10 people was a lot for me. It was a lot to handle. There's so many times, like, cause I'd be going to sleep, and some of them like I had to go to sleep, you know, like 10 or something like that, and they went to the gym at 10.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I would wake up in the middle of the night.
I can imagine, yeah.
I would wake up in the middle of the night. I remember Angelo can attest to this, but when he started, I don't know what semester, but he had a lab at 7:30, and he told me he's gonna go to the gym at 5 a.m. And I told him, I was like, okay, I'll set an alarm at 5 a.m. and I wake up and watch your video, or, you know, watch your workout. And I did that for quite some time. I think that semester.
Wow.
Yeah.
The dedication.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so
Shout out to Angelo. God damn.
yeah. He went to work out first and then went to his lab. There we go.
Dang.
Yeah, it worked out at like 6 a.m., you know, or 5:30, something like that. Yeah, I would wake up, watch the video, give feedback. But yeah, I just remember or coaching 10 people. I mean, I would do it again, you know, because I've learned, but you know, life's a journey, you know. I don't know how many classes I'm going to take next semester, this and that, but I always communicate to these guys, you know, I have work now, you know, this and that. I might not respond to you as quick as I can, but you know, I'll try, you know. I don't want to give up on like doing that. I always like to at least try. But yeah, coaching 10 people at that time was really stressful. I remember that. Like I was getting exhausted. Actually, yeah, I was really exhausted because they wanted to do this and that, and then sometime like and I guess, but that's the main thing. That's the main stressor that I could think about. I don't have it anymore, obviously, but I guess in a second wouldn't be like it is important, but injury, because I've helped like some of my guys. I've helped them recover from certain things. Like when you had that sciatica, that last week I came up with a little exercise program.
So bomb.
And it did work. And that's what's up. And but some of them, it's a little bit more trickier. And when I don't know what to do, I actually refer them. Like I'm like, hey, let's get this checked out by a doctor. And I had to do that with Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. But
Gil?
Huh?
Gil was one of them too.
And Gil too, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I told them, I was like, it's out of my hands. I don't, I taught them everything I knew and used everything I knew, but I couldn't solve it. And so I told them, let's go see a doctor. So I believe I was saying like, Tyler's dealing with an injury, and unfortunately we don't know, or we do know the possible root of it because he went to a doctor, and he gave him the doctor gave him some exercises and rehab. It did work for quite a bit, but his symptoms of pain and all that stuff's coming back. And then I had tried a new approach with Tyler, and unfortunately it did not work out, or it's not working out. And I told Tyler, you know what, let's get this checked out by by a PT or something like that. So yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question, and you don't have to name any names, and you can honestly say that like I'm not gonna answer this question.
I'm not gonna. No.
But I was gonna ask, have you ever had to terminate a relationship with a client because there was conflict with you guys, or so like talk about that.
I have.
If you can.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna name names, but I have. But with all my the people that have been with me, we ended off on good terms. So I'll say that. But yes, I do. I've had. I made a decision for a particular person. I decided to end it with them or stop their programming because they weren't in the right headspace at the time, and it wasn't very healthy for him to go to the gym like at all.
Really?
I
Wow.
made that decision, yeah. And I was like, listen, dude, I'd rather have you be mentally good first before you even go to the gym, because the gym's not gonna be fun. You're not gonna benefit from this first unless you fix this issue that he was having at the time. Fortunately, he doesn't have it anymore, and it's all good. But yeah.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, the gym's always going to be there. The gym's going to be there, and who knows how long your mental state's going to be there. So it's I personally always advocate mental health over anything, because it's hard to regain yourself back. I mean, I've suffered through mental health, and it truly is hard to regain yourself back, to even just like a 1% of yourself back. It really is hard. It really is hard. So thankfully that person is back to themselves.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, dude, the gym's always gonna be there. There's like 50,000 gyms across the whole United States.
Yeah.
So, but I am glad that individual is good now.
Yeah, he's doing way better now. That's great. Yeah. But yeah, all my relationships with my athletes have been nothing but positive. So
That's good.
yeah.
I mean, it's good to have, of course. I mean, having that relationship is important. And not only that, also building a friendship too. Even if they decide to be like, you know what, they decide to not get coaching from you anymore, as long as that friendship is there, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's good to have. It's really good to have.
I always advocate, to all my guys to never be complacent with what they learn in life. You should always seek more info. Because that's, I think, one of the most important things in life. Because you learn something new every day.
Oh, of course.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, always seek out info is what I tell them.
So this is a question that we always ask every guest that we've had so far.
Okay.
What was your biggest fitness inspiration?
Your Finspo.
Yeah.
Finspo.
Yeah.
Or you can name a few. I've had a few.
When I started lifting, I didn't really have like a Fitspo because I never watched lifting at all. Like I only knew powerlifting because of Kevin.
I mean, it could be a movie, like something that like.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Boosted you, like okay.
I guess Russell Orhe. I guess.
Of course,
classic.
Yeah, the classic.
the legendary.
Yeah, and then, but honestly, my inspiration kind of sounds corny, but it was the people at Pod. I just thought they looked cool doing it. They're lifting all this weight. I was like, whoa. Teach me,
color
show me.
plates. Ooh,
Yeah,
fancy.
color plates.
Fancy.
Yeah, and I really never had like a Finspo or anything like that. But if I would have to guess, probably Russell Orhe. I actually never watched a lot of his stuff. I've just seen him on Instagram, but I thought he was cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and but yeah, just the people around me inspired me and made powerlifting look cool for me. So yeah.
Pod changed your life, I feel like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
For the better.
Most definitely.
For the better.
Yeah,
Like,
especially
imagine
lifting.
Bryan not going to Pod.
Yeah,
Like-
imagine me going to.
Oh, shit!
God damn.
Anyway.
Do you think about like that? No, for real. Like, do you think about like, man, like, had I not gone here, my lifting career would have been so different, or like maybe even non-existent.
Oh yeah. Sorry. No, most definitely, because like I said, people at Pod, taught me a lot of stuff. Blah about like lifting, warming up, and all that stuff. And the first time I ever got injured was at Pod, and David helped me out to rehab it, and it worked instantly. And like if I can't, I never thought about that. Like me going to another gym, like 24-hour fitness, or going to like I don't know, like if I stuck with 24-hour fitness or going to a different gym, I don't know where I would be at or how I think about things. Because I learned a lot from those guys. I listened to like I think Anas and his podcast. Shout outs to Chalk My Back. I listen to their podcasts, and other podcasts too, and I hear what they say. I just absorb the info. They're very smart people, man. I look up to them.
Oh, yeah.
I look up to them a lot. But I would honestly say I would be honestly different.
Can you imagine? That's all it took. Just imagine. They asked him, "Hey, I'm gonna go with Pod. Do you want to go with Bryan?" No. and then I can only imagine what it had been after that.
Yeah, like, imagine if you went to like a.
He never went to Pod.
I probably would have kept maxing out every week, getting injured.
But
why not even join powerlifting, like the powerlifting team?
Really?
I think so, yeah. Cause I just did it for fun.
Interesting.
It was just me and Kevin.
Would you still be doing powerlifting though?
Do you think?
No, probably just lifting in general.
Just lifting in general? Because you said
if I never
Kevin.
went to Pod.
Yeah, because you said Kevin got you into, feet in the water of powerlifting. But Pod is the jump into the water.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin took you to the lake, and the lake was Pod, and you drank.
I think I don't know. Oh my gosh.
David, throw this man a bag, bro.
Oh my
Seriously,
gosh.
they should cut you a check. You're like the fucking prodigal son of Pod.
Honestly.
It's just funny. So
seriously.
it's like
Maybe, well, if Pod expand, would it be Pod?
Yeah, what would it? If we could.
I mean, we've talked. I've asked David
Progressive
about
overload,
expansion,
San Marcos?
Yeah, possum.
Probably not.
oh
but,
my gosh.
Yeah.
But I think it would work.
That's up to David. I don't know.
It can be Pod, but then in parentheses, worldwide.
Worldwide. Mr. Paul Worldwide. But I think that's what makes Pod unique though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only one in Dallas, the small ass gym, you know. But
Humble beginnings, you know.
but everyone there it's the people that make pod great. I like all of them.
Oh.
They're all unique for sure. You know.
You know what's crazy? I follow a lot of people from pod,
Oh really?
and they follow back. Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
Like it's crazy because I'm always looking at pod. It's not even from you. You know, it's from Logan. It's from Sway Squats. It's from who's the other girl, the strong one that
Jasmine.
yes.
Jasmine Penn, yeah, she goes there.
Jasmine,
Michael
and
C
then-
goes there time to time.
And then there's another one. I forgot her name. We met her at game day one day.
Oh, Najee.
Yes.
Oh,
Naj.
Najee, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So it's like, it's crazy just how. I mean, this all ties into the community of powerlifting, but it's awesome seeing a small gym like Pod be so successful and
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings up a question I want to ask you. You have a very, very, I don't want to say unique because it's more like niche philosophy when it comes to lifting with your tech and your warm-ups and just the way that you approach things. And like, I feel like, especially because we're in Texas, and in Texas, a certain style of lifting has become like what is and has been a staple for a long time. Very meathead, like old cues that haven't really evolved over time. And I was just wondering, like, because you're so different and unique in this space, when you leave Pod, you came to SB, or you came to Metro, you came to, I guess maybe not Ghost, but like any gym that's like in like this area as you've expanded, do you feel kind of ostracized a little bit?
Oh, for
Or do
sure.
you feel like and people like look at you and like, with judgmental eyes and or do you feel that? How do you feel about it, and like how have you dealt with that?
Oh, like yeah, like going to strength build athletics or like any gym like down here, where I've experienced like yeah, it's still like meathead a little bit ish, yeah, but the whole vibe and everything is way different. Like from warming up, to how you lift on certain lifts, the technique, everything like that. It's very different. The cues are very different. Me, I don't think I ever mind. Like I was always when I'm at the gym, I really just only pay attention to myself.
Right.
But I know some of y'all and from like our teammates have snapped photos of me with the foam roller doing this, But yeah.
shout out to the PRIs, though.
Bro, yeah.
Shout out.
Speaking of which, we met someone today that's from Pod, and it was funny because when we saw it, I saw them. They were like, they looked at me, I looked at them, and I was like, "Does he know Bryan?"
There's one of us. There's one of us.
He goes to Pod. And then you asked them, I was like, "Hey, do you know Bryan?" Like, "Oh no, are you?"
Oh no, we asked him. I asked him where he was from. He's like, "Whoa, like what the hell?"
Where you from?
But I was like,
Where your grandma stay?
What set you repping, huh?
yeah, and he said he was from Dallas. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up." Like, I see your shirt. You're a powerlifter, right? He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, what gym do you usually go to?" He goes, "Pod." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then that's when you pulled up.
Yeah, you pulled up at the same time.
That was funny.
Yeah. And then it was like, "Oh, okay. Like we know somebody who's from Pod. Do you know them?" And then I showed him. He's like, "Oh, I've seen them like every once in a while. I just rarely go there, kind of."
Yeah.
I'm a truck driver. He's a truck driver.
Yeah.
You know.
You gotta talk. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy. So it's like to kind of, I guess, add on to the question. PRIs. Where did that usually like? Where'd you learn that from?
Pod.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
David.
I had seen several people doing these breathing exercises with the foam roller, and I was like, I was just minding my business, but I was like, oh, those are interesting. I keep seeing people doing these, and I heard, I think I heard Anas talk about it. He mentioned PRI, and then I was interested. I was curious, right? And so I looked up PRI on YouTube, and then that's how I got introduced. And yeah, I mean, I use it. I'm still learning it. There's a lot of techniques and patterns and all that stuff. It's a very interesting world. I definitely think people should know more about it, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like it's a game changer. Like
It really is.
It's crazy how give or take a full set of PRIs takes about 30 seconds, if even, maybe,
Yeah.
roughly, like no more than a minute. And it's crazy how your body feels like right after. Like, say for example, if you have tight lats or something, just do a PRI for lats, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, I can kind of move freely. You know, you're not stuck in a hunchback position just because you're carrying a fucking backpack across campus. You know, I do my PRIs, especially for my lats on my back, of when I have classes from Tuesday all the way to Thursday. Mondays and Fridays, like the weekends, even like I'll see how my back feels. If it's like super tight, I'll do my PRIs for that. But essentially, if I'm like, okay, like I'm not feeling tight at all, you know, I'll kind of skip that PRI and then I'll go to my PRIs for my lower half. Mainly my lower half, I'm doing my PRIs like every day, every training day, because every training day is a different set of PRIs that you give us at least. But man, my lower half has been through hell and back.
Yeah.
It's been through hell and back from a minor tear in this meniscus and dislocating this kneecap, you know. But I agree with you officially. Like every powerlifter or everybody in general, you know, they should at least look into PRIs. You know, it's very important. It's very important.
Yeah, and I just wanna explain what PRI is real quick. So PRI stands for Posture Restoration Institute, and essentially the concept is, you know, when you come out of the womb, you know, and then, you know, live life, most humans are fixated on a certain pattern, like maybe from the way you sleep, work, this and that. And so the whole point of PRI is to basically get the person to neutrality by sensing like the ground, what they're doing, you know, spatially, you know, being more spatial aware of where their joints and muscles are at, what they're doing, how to activate it, this and that. Because a lot of people are stuck in certain patterns. You know, most people are stuck in the left AIC BC pattern. And so basically PRI is to help people get back to neutral. It's not super, you know, like, it doesn't give you strength or anything like that. It just makes you feel better, because in PRI, like, everything's connected, like from the ground up, like literally, like sensing your feet, and it goes all the way up, you know, through your diaphragm, your neck, your, you know, temporal, all that stuff. So I do believe like people should look into PRI more. You know, stretching, all that stuff, like, shouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind. You know, you should always think about like what you're doing in life. You know,
All you need is a foam roller. No, it's just funny because I always see y'all doing the PRIs, and especially whenever y'all have the foam roller, I was like, oh, there he goes.
Oh, that's a winner.
There you go. That's team winning right there. But I think I mean, like you said, it's about, you know, being complacent, understanding like there's always new things coming up. With like, I didn't know much about PRIs until I started seeing, you know, Bryan starting to give some to y'all or trying to teach him, and then I see him doing it too, and I'm like, what is that? Like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it became a broad thing now, and especially after today, seeing the guy that was from Pod start doing similar things too, and I was like, oh shit, this is something that's not, you know.
I walked in, like, y'all didn't say anything yet, but I saw him doing, I believe he was doing like a hip shift PRI or something like that. And I was like, oh, this guy knows what's up. And then you guys told me he's from Pod. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, everything makes sense now.
So is that like a regional thing? Like,
what I've noticed, to answer, no, it's everywhere, obviously. But what I've noticed, you know, because I only live in Texas.
Well, I should have said that in the state of Texas.
Right.
Is that?
seems like people from like the Dallas area, like AR, what was the other gym? I can't remember, but
The Pit.
maybe
Battle Axe.
Yeah, Battle Axe. Yeah, Battle Axe. And Pod. You know, they all, at least a person knows what like a PRI is or something like that, breathing techniques. And then when I came down here, not many people knew that. They would static stretch or just they would stretch it out to feel better. And I took a different approach and told some people to try this and that, and then magically it worked. And yeah,
magically,
yeah. I mean,
it's like I don't know if you guys see.
Once I took that phone,
I don't know if you guys seen like Demon Slayer or all that, but it's like a whole new total concentration form. Like it's
my god.
No, like it's different. I don't know if
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know if you compared yourself before being accepted with Bryan to like now. It's like a whole different form. It's crazy. I do stand for PRIs.
I think for me on bench especially.
Oh my god! Yes.
If I don't do them, like I
Benches.
know, I can feel, and like it's not as good. It's not as tight. I don't get as good mobility in my thoracic spine. Like everything is just.
Even sometimes, like I don't be mad at me, but I wanted to test it out how a bench day would be with PRIs and then without. Thank God I did on my secondary bench day and not my comp bench day, but oh my god, it's so different. Like it really is different. Yeah. And I ended up like started benching like this, like sideways. And I was like, okay, let me rack this and let me do my PRI. Like that's it. Like I didn't go to top set without a PRI, but I wanted to see without. Maybe I think it was just a red, and I was like, I noticed like I kind of just shifted like this, and then once I did my PRIs, it was just like, okay, now we're back to Yeah. So dude, PRIs are just a game changer.
It's so fun.
Like, oh my god.
But I feel like you never fully answered the question that I asked you.
Sorry,
Which was, do you feel the judgment, and like how do you feel about that? Have you ever, like I don't know, just in general, like how do you? How would you?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Go ahead. No, I don't care.
Sorry. No, I never felt judged because I knew all I was doing was helping myself, or it was helping me. So I didn't really care what everyone else would think. But they could always like someone from SW could be like, you should also try this. I'm like, oh okay, and then it helps too. But I never felt embarrassed or judged, doing those breathing techniques.
Yeah, I even took those PRIs back at home at my home gym, and I told a few people, hey, these are called PRIs, you should give them a try. And they're like, okay, and I mean those are coaches from that area, So because I'm really good friends with people back at home that are coaches and all that, so I was like, hey, like you should try these out, look these up, and then give them to your athletes. Whether they did it or not, I don't know, but at least I did my part of helping out the community, even though they're a different federation, USPA. But I don't know. I'm actually curious. I'm gonna text them tonight or tomorrow. Be like, hey, how are things going? Did you look up PRIs and all that? So I'm actually curious. I'm gonna reach back at home.
You come back and everyone has their own foam roller.
Right.
It's like, yeah, damn, these are game changing. But I think it's like also like noticing like there's a certain type of like culture as far as in with pod and everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of different types of culture around different gyms. Everywhere where you go, there's always gonna be a certain type of culture too. I can only imagine like at pod, maybe it's a little bit more like from Dallas, people that I've met from Dallas is like they're a lot more technical as far as what I've met. They're a lot more technical of how they lift. In Houston, it's a mix of you got crunch strength and Alphalant, so it's kind of like
There's TSS in Houston as well.
Now there is.
But
I
there's
feel
a
like
certain,
it has
the owner went to pod. I know Jay.
Oh my god! So it's just pod 2.0.
Give or take.
Give or take.
But no, like you were saying, yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like in the Houston area, it's either you're bodybuilding or you're a meathead. Like, there's no. I don't want to, because I'm from Houston, so it's like, but I don't know if there's like, obviously there's technique involved, but I'm not saying you're super strict or anything, but it's like you really care for technique, you know. I don't know if it's like that in Houston. I think it's just like full sins only, you know.
Like that's the thing I've noticed is like a lot of the Dallas people I've seen and some of the powerlifters I've seen, they're very technical, and how technical and explaining certain techniques they have.
It's
as
like
far
an
as on their
art
lives,
style.
it's like an art style, and then all of that. Like it seems like it's a type of culture that I've seen. Maybe it's just because also the lifters I've seen have been working out at Pod too, doing their PRIs. But do you think, from your experience, from the culture as far as at where you're at Pod, do you feel like there are certain different types of culture that you've noticed where it's like transitioning from there to here? Would you be like, I'd rather be at Pod right now?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's a big culture change, like going down south more.
Yeah.
Like y'all mentioned, it's true people are more technical, or at least the people I talk to and train with, they're more technical with their craft. And coming down here, and I'm not trying to badmouth anyone, but the warm-ups and their approach to certain lifts are relatively the same. And yeah, I mean it's a big change for me personally. Yeah. From what I noticed.
Okay.
I think it's like it depends on. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily regional, but I definitely feel like because Texas is such a big community of strength, it's like there are sects and cliques that form inside the regions, but I feel like I have very limited experience, right? Like my gyms were a Lifetime Fitness when I was like a kid and didn't care about lifting, and then sort of like a pseudo Lifetime Fitness that was its own thing when I actually really started. I guess technically I went to Anytime Fitness as well, but that was only for a minute. That guy couldn't pay his rent, so that place doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my god.
And then everything that we've done together, which includes the rec, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Ew.
But like, I feel like with Pod, like it kind of lends itself to being more technical because it's a smaller gym. I mean, obviously it's run by very top tier athletes in the USAPL, like top 10 ranked, and like even like I don't know how much of the Dallas Fort Worth area you've explored. I'm sure you've been to like Battle Axe. I'm sure you've been to Absolute Recon. Like, are those that much different from Pod?
Relatively the same.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you're at a place that has top-level competitors, it's going to be, like, these guys have sharpened their swords so much. They're so good at what they do that obviously they're going to be technical. Whereas if you go to, ho-dum commercial gym, mom and pop, high schooler, type shit, it's like everyone's gonna full send all the time, of course. So like, and I'm not saying anything about Corrupted or Alpha Land because I've never been to Corrupted, I've never been to Alpha Land, but I get the vibe that because they're like, what's the right word here? Like, I don't want to say mainstream because like they're not 24 hour, they're not LA Fitness or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're not Golds. But like they're very, very popular gyms because they're run by very, very popular people. So it kind of, I don't know if any of you guys, because you guys obviously know more than I do because I've never been to any of these places. But like that itself lends like the culture to be more meathead and not very like in the know Even though, obviously, Russell is there. He's a phenomenal lifter. He's a great lifter. He's the best lifter in his weight class in the world. And you have other top level guys there. And, obviously he was also at Alpha Elite for a long time. And, there are top level bodybuilders who go to Alpha Elite or Alpha Land now. So it's not like they don't know what they're doing. But like, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. It's like, because they're like so mainstream, and pod is almost like, you have to really search for a gym like pod.
I didn't know about pod until Bryan told me so.
I know about pod because I'm a huge fan of the Swolfessor.
Yeah.
And he trained at pod a couple times, and he has clients who train at pod. So that's how I knew exactly what that is. But if I didn't know who Marcellus was, I probably wouldn't have known about pod until you showed up either. So like, do you understand like what I'm saying?
No, I totally understand. Yeah.
There's like big names, there's people that I know who are like, sadly they're in the USPA, but they're like almost top level, they're almost top level, and they stretch at home. They do all their stretches before they leave, So it's
interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, shout out to David, by the way. David, I don't know if you're watching this. Probably isn't, but David is a really cool guy. Really cool guy I met back at home. But he does all his stretches before leaving to the gym, because when he goes to the gym, he just like, okay, I just want to lift, lift and go home. Like, he wants to be home.
How far is his commute? Do you know? Because I can imagine like warming up and then having to drive 25 minutes.
It's not that far. It's not that far, because
it would make sense if it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but like,
I think it's like 10, 15.
That makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, if we had to drive like to go to Ghost and I'm doing PRIs, all right, help my car. I'm like, I'm already going to be out of alignment when I get there at that time.
It also depends how you drive and all that too. So, but no, David, he stretches at home, then goes to the gym, and he does a little bit more stretching, but it's not like super insane. It's just to like you said, depending on how far the drive is or something. If he feels outlined, he'll just do it at the gym and then start lifting. So that's understandable. But I mean, I don't know if these people are corrupted that did that or not. But I mean, that dude's warm up was pretty fast. So it's just like, I'm like, damn, how can you be this good and like not, warm up properly? Or I'm not saying like they warm up properly or not, but it was like crazy to seeing this guy just do something real quick, and it was just like, oh, and that's it, just like start lifting. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, some people just kind of like, they're just built different, and then not only that, to them it's easier for them to just be like, I just need a free barbell, just kind of like getting into the motion and doing it multiple times, and they'll be like, oh, that's all I need to do, that's it. So it could be just different. But also, speaking on which, as far as like what Ani was talking about, was like with it being mainstream and people maybe like they're just being meatheads and all. It's also, when you think about it, thinking about Calibrated Strength or Alpha Land, it also has this kind of like attraction kind of thing. It's like a kind of like amusement park kind of thing. You want to go because you're like, damn, this is nice. People will travel to go see it, and then I've heard so many people, especially after getting like a week pass at during spring break at Calibrated Strength, is there's people who will travel so far during spring break to go and be like visit, and they'll be like, oh, I just wanted to come here because Alpha Land's here or Calibrated Strength is here.
Wow.
Because they see it's like Russell Orhe's there, or maybe because at Alpha Land there's Christian there. They've always looked up to them. I think people have this also aspect of, it's like kind of like an amusement park. It's like something you want to experience yourself because you see it only through a video, and you're like, damn, this place is cool.
Yeah.
So they would love to see it in person, and that's the crazy thing about powerlifting too, especially with how Russell Orhe has changed it, and even Christian too with creating Alpha Land. It's like now it seems like people will just go to the gym, not only just to work out, but also see to themselves like, damn, it's like an attraction.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster. It's like, damn, I want to go there and try that out.
I mean, I've always wanted to go to hybrid, but I am going to Miami specifically for hybrid. Okay.
I mean, yeah,
people would do that.
That's the crazy.
I believe it if you told me though, but it's still kind of crazy. Like
that's the thing though. It's like I think that's what's the case. It's just people see it as an attraction and everything, compared to pod where it's like not a lot of people know it, but they like this is like a powerlifting gym. You know, this is where people actually care about their techniques, their warm-ups. There's like technical things. It's a very small gym, but very close knitted, where it's like you can speak to the person not too far doing something else and being like, you can talk to them, joke around, but also gain advice from each people around you, you know, compared to like you go to a corrupted strength where it's sometimes it's mostly people who are just visiting, and then it's like, you know, they just want to work out there because it's like, oh my god, this is like what my, you know, celebrity influencer goes to, you know, and a good example right now, Bumstead is there in Houston, because he has an event Saturday. It's like,
darn, Daddy C-Bum.
Yeah, C-Bum's there right now, and it's kind of like, that's what makes people go.
I bet you anything, bro. There's people flying in just see Daddy C-Bum. I would, bro. I would drive home. What the hell?
But that's the thing, though. It's kind of like it has that type of attraction of knowing like these influencers go there. They just want to see them. Like Jamal's there. He lives in Houston now, so people are like, I want to go see him because he works out there. Or Alpha Land, since C-Bum's gonna be there this weekend. That I think has a play on as far as why there are, you know, it doesn't attract like the most serious powerlifters. There are people that after being there for a week, there are people who are really deep into powerlifting, but there's some people who just want to be there just to enjoy it.
Yeah, of course.
You say like it's a cool gym to be at, especially at Alpha Land. Am I gonna pay $25? No,
probably
not for a day. Maybe.
Maybe that one day.
That one day, like something's going on, but no, I'm not paying that much. But
better than Zoo. Have you seen Zoo's day pass?
No.
60.
Why?
Because
because of that
culture.
reason. The culture, as far as like compared to like, you know, like a corrupted strength or Alpha Land, it's because of that.
What's the membership rate then?
It's a lot.
150, 120 or something.
Like a month.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense though, because it's in California, the pay raise and all that. I don't know why that.
Well, think of how many people who are famous influencers go to Zoo. I mean,
quite a few.
I mean, you could even take Bradley Martin out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And there'd still be so many people that people want to go see.
It's because it's kind of like it's a thing. It's like people want to post on their, you know, social media. It's like, oh, I went to Zoo Culture and all that because of the name. That's the thing, though.
Like, I'm sorry, but who gives a fuck? I mean, I don't know.
My buddy went to Zoo and like, I mean, he was going to Cali for other reasons.
Yeah, no, of course.
But he went to Zoo and he full sent it on the deadlifts just because he was at Zoo, and it's like it's a thing. I mean, people. That's what I'm saying about like why maybe the people at Pod are more known for being very high technicians, like super great at what they do, is because like that's where you go for that. And like people will go to Corrupted or Alpha Land, like kind of like he was saying, because it's the whole thing is like a spectacle. It's like an event. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like going to the amusement park. I mean, who cares if you go to an amusement park? You're there to have fun. Like, you're just there to like ride rides and play games. Like, but like,
man, but amusement park cost me $60. Fuck that.
Amusement park might cost you $60, homie.
Fuck that. But, not to get in. Fuck that.
Yeah,
bro.
But I mean, as from my experience, it's not knocking on like corrupted strength. It's not knocking on Alpha Land. Like there are always going to be people there who are actually so, deep into fitness and exercise that they will pay as much as they need, because equipment's nice. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, the equipment is nice.
I have a buddy there, and I mean, dude, like I've seen the videos and stuff. Like, I do give them that. Like, they got things that cater to both bodybuilding and, well, actually all three, bodybuilding, powerlifting, and Olympic weightlifting. So,
because all the people I even got to know some people while I was at Corporate Strength for that whole week. Is that there's usually the common people I've seen throughout that whole week. It's like usually the same people, and getting to know them and talking to them. It's kind of like, you know, there are those people who are just so into powerlifting and they just go to that gym because, I mean, they live in Houston, but they love powerlifting, and it's a plus with Russell Orhe being there. But yeah, I think it's just that's the difference as far as, you know, Corporate Strength and Alphaline to like Pod. It's the type of, you know, attraction to powerlifting.
yeah.
So, well, speaking on that, which I'm curious as far as to everyone, is there a gym that you would like to visit?
Unpopular opinion, I prefer smaller gyms than.
You prefer smaller gyms?
Yeah, like especially the gym that we're at now. I love it. Why? It's because it's the same people there, and it's easier to build a connection, you know, versus like going to a 24-hour gold gym. Like, who the fuck wants to make a fucking relationship with a song goblin or like a fucking meathead who's in their 70s and says fuck steroids and fucking max out on the. I don't know if you've seen that guy. That guy's funny though. On TikTok, he's like all natty baby, and he's like maxing out on like a lat pull down. He has like 245s on the thing, and then on top of that, he has like the full whole rack just pulling. I don't know, but like I prefer that connection that you make at a smaller gym. I mean, you can attest to this because you go to Pod, so all that friendships and all that, like, it's just, I feel like you can make it at like a commercial gym or like at a bigger gym, but it's super rare compared to like finding a small gym and getting to know people and all that.
Shout out to Kevin at Ghost Athletics. Like,
dude,
he's a cool guy. Talking to him, building a community that's also very close to it, and something that, you know, he wants to get to know each and every individual. But shout out to you.
Yeah, and then he's that type of gym owner who is like, hey, welcome, and then that's it. You know,
all right, give me your money.
Yeah, no, he will sit down, have a conversation, and build a relationship with you, and that's something you rarely see at a gym. You know, well, especially at a bigger gym. But anyways, carry on.
Well,
I think I can answer that question as well because you posed it to everybody. I would say that in terms of like a facility for like going to a gym because you want to go to that gym specifically, and not because there are people at that gym that you want to meet, because I think there's two different things. Like, I've always wanted to go to Absolute Recomp, but that's because like most of my favorite fitness influencer guys.
Marcellus is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you know what? Low-key, I want to go Absolute Recomp just like one day is to like fucking deadlift and then play League of Legends right after.
I forgot, they have to play games.
Imagine, or vice versa, imagine playing League of Legends, getting pissed, and fucking just going and deadlifting right
Fuck
after.
it. I'm playing games.
Right?
But like, I can't think of a facility that I would want to go to specifically because I think that facility is crazy. Like, maybe, okay, so there's a gym in Canada that Omar Isif went to, it's called Fortis Fitness. I don't know if you guys are huge fans of, I'm probably not, but I love Omar. He was my favorite guy. Anyway, that gym actually looks freaking crazy. It's awesome. It's got all kinds of stuff. It's got everything that I could ever want in a gym, and it's run by a guy who's like, you know, used to be a professional bodybuilder, and he's got all these trophies, and like maybe. But even then, like, I think like, especially what I've like really felt in the last couple of months is that the place where I want to be is like where where my people are, where my community is, and I think that there's nowhere I can't, like, it doesn't matter where that is, because as long as the people that I'm there or who I want to surround myself with and who like make lifting not only fun but like just like we push each other to be great, we push each other to do things that wouldn't even think about being able to do without each other. I just like that's more important to me, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So if I'm gonna travel, it's either gonna be with you. Like when we went to game day, I don't ever want to go to game day by myself.
Yeah.
That's not like, and it's not because the drive is long. It's because, like,
It's just something about lifting with your friends, especially at a gym that's not home.
Yeah, like that's what I would want.
Yeah.
So and game day is a fantastic facility. It's probably one of the best in the area. So like but even then it's still like I don't want to go there by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like I understand like when he says like I'd rather be at pod, like that makes a lot of sense to me. Like I don't ever think that you're being weird about that. Like of course you want to be at pod. Like you are pod essentially.
Yeah.
That's why David should throw you a bag.
What is that gym in Dallas that I don't think it just opened up, but it's kind of getting popular. But is that super bougie one?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people post, but I actually don't know. I'm not sure, but they have like these fancy lights and it's really dark in there.
I kind of want to go just to check it out, but I'm too afraid to look at the day pass because I'm telling you, like this gym is bougie. Like I'm talking about,
it's
like
really
it's.
Tyler went with.
Is it like a commercial style gym or is it more like
it's like a commercial.
It's like a modeling.
But like it's like it's
What's
super like it looks like for a membership it's probably like $180.
There's a famous company on the West Coast. I'm trying to remember.
It's kind of like this would be like similar to like the Lifetime. What was it?
Yeah,
Like Lifetime.
No, it's
was pretty
bougier than that.
Yeah.
It's bougier than that.
I'm not paying that much.
It's bougie than Lifetime.
I ain't paying more.
Yeah.
Is it an Equinox?
Ooh, I think it's on the same level as Equinox. Because
Yeah.
Equinox is kind of bougie.
I was like, the most I'll pay. I was like, no.
The most I pay for a gym pass is like $20. The most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll pay for like. I'll pay. Unless it's 24 hours.
Let me see what it is.
Because like, that gym I was going to before, whenever it was during breaks, was Snap Fitness.
Oh,
Does that sound familiar to anyone?
I know Snap. I know Snap Fitness.
Snap Fitness is like a 24-hour
I think I
gym.
remember.
It's kind of
you
like a
saying that.
commercial style.
It's definitely a commercial style
Yeah,
gym,
yeah.
and it's 24 hours. So I'll be like, bet, like I'm paying $40 for a month just for a day pass. Only thing that sucks is I don't have calibrated plates.
Mm-hmm.
Neither do I have this like great barbells either. But I mean, you make men's meet, but yeah. But I think the most I would ever pay is probably like $65. But that's like basically what Corrupted Strength like charges you, and I'd rather do that. I'm not paying $100 and something like Alpha Land or something. Because that's too far for me. I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that much.
Can't buy it.
Alpha Land's day pass
It's
is
$25.
$100.
No, it's 25.
But their monthly membership is $100 and something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
then that's without contract, I believe.
That's without contract.
Yeah.
With contract, it's like 80 something.
80 something.
But that's like a full year.
Yeah.
I think.
Not even. I think it's 2 or something. Like
You're stuck on them. And I'm like, fuck. But yeah, that's why it's like, like I'd rather what Bryan would do is go at pod.
Yeah.
He has a great community there.
What we had to Brian needs to answer the question. What is there any gym that you want to like you really want to go to, or have you already? Is it like nothing's better than pod? Nothing's better than pod.
The expanded pod.
Yeah.
I probably want to go to CS. Just so I can say I've been there. It looks cool, so just want to go there.
I do want to go to. I mean, not just because. I mean, obviously, just because of the people, but also the gym. The gyms look nice. Hybrid, obviously, and then the other one. what is it called? Barquan's gym.
Barbell Brigade, the OG.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I want to go there too. Like just to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I'll put Untamed on that list as well. I guess.
I mean, come on, dude.
Untamed.
Barquan,
Oh, that's an OG one.
Yeah.
Untamed, especially they're expanding too.
They're expanding again.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're moving. I think they're moving to another gym, but it's bigger. But
They've already done it like twice.
that's another
pretty
one.
cool.
Yeah. That's another thing I want to visit. Well, I don't know if y'all know about this, but the one I want to visit is Warcat.
What is that?
Oh.
Warcat is the one where it
yeah.
has. Do you know the lifter
A lot of Asian people.
Kai Zhao
Yeah. I know
or
what
Kai? He's a 100 and something kg lifter.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Why does that sound so familiar?
He's not
You've
that-
seen a lot of Asian people on it. I have some Warcat people that follow me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to visit that just because.
Because
Where's it?
There's a lot of people who
It's
there's a lot of people who like, man, I tell you right now, they like put Warcat in their bios and everything. If they're going there, and it's like, damn, I want to know how this community is,
Interesting.
because it seems like a lot of people there are very supportive and encouraging. Because I'll be what did you do your PRs? But what you call it? They're very supportive. I hear people like cheering each other on too, watching each other lifts. That's one gym I want to visit. It's in California too. So
Fuck it, let's go. Let's make
Is
a
it
trip.
SoCal, NorCal?
I don't know.
Nothing's
Maybe
there.
SoCal, North Cal. But yeah,
Just because, like, I was thinking, like, one day, like, I wanted, like, if I'm planning a California trip and just hit all the big gyms on
Bro, good luck. That's like $1,000. Yeah, Bradley Martin's charging $60, bro. Just imagine the other.
I ain't going to Zoo Culture. No,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Come on!
No, I'm not paying $60 for a day
I'll
pass.
watch you from the outside. I'll be like,
Maybe
Hey.
they'll throw in some raw gear stuff. I don't know.
Oh, they're
Bro.
not trash.
Oh, bro, cut that out, cut that out, cut that out.
No, but like.
I'm not gonna lie, they're oversized tees are pretty cool.
But I think playing on that whenever I was talking about is the community is like that also plays a big role because I'm not gonna lie, like I don't want to walk into a gym where it's like they're known for their name and there's a lot of people there because of how popular it is, you know, kind of like an Alpha Land or a Zoo Culture, and then people judging you just because it's like, oh, you're not like an influencer or you're not as good looking as them. Like
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Have you felt
And-
that before? It sounds like a little person.
Well, I can speak for myself at least when Alphalete was first like a thing. I mean, bro, you go in there and you can tell it's just influencer type vibes. Everyone there is just doing bodybuilding stuff. Obviously, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can tell just by looking. It's like, okay, people are here just here.
Just to say that they're from,
Yeah.
they're going out.
Yeah, they're going out. Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, oh, like influencer vibes, you know. But it's just like, I don't know. I can speak for myself on that part. It's just, I went to Alphalete to meet Russell. Like, I will say that with pride. Like I went to Alphalete to meet Russell at
This
the time.
wasn't like storage unit Alpha League, was it? Or was it like.
I think it was, right?
No, it was. It was right when he got back from Worlds after winning.
So you went to storage unit Alpha League, bro? That's crazy.
Oh no, storage unit. No, sorry. It's the bigger one.
Okay,
The bigger one.
okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No.
I was like, damn.
No.
Way back in the day.
No, I think actually wasn't storage unit Alpha Elite here
No, I don't think so.
because Christian went to Texas State.
Oh, I don't know.
He did?
He did.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't remember.
Wait, don't quote me on that, but I think he did. I think he went to Texas State.
I don't
Huh.
know. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I know he got kicked out of LA Fitness, but I can't remember which LA Fitness. Because there's an LA Fitness in Sugarland where I used to live that, like. Because he's from Stafford.
Let me
Or
do
is he
some
from
research.
Rosenberg?
Hmm.
Okay, anyway, we're getting way off topic here.
Don't quote me on that though.
Okay.
Hold on, let me do some research.
Well, speaking on which, it's like, as I was saying, is like the community. I think it's like it's a big thing. With Pod, you know, you're very close with each other. I've seen it multiple times too, where it's like
Yeah.
Brian will be all we'll be out and we'll go to another gym or like kind of like game day, or we'll meet people from Dallas, or like people will recognize us like, hey Bryan, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm
And
kind of surprised
I'll be like,
people
how the
know
fuck?
Bryan.
How many people know his?
Yeah.
I'll be like, you know, you would think I'll be like, you know, he would have like, you know, 1,000, 2,000 followers. I was like, okay, a lot of people know him, but the fact that like random out of nowhere, out of the blue, will be like, oh Bryan, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
I'll be like, what the fuck?
I think that was like the most craziest thing. Was like you handling me at TSS, and then you had like what 3 or 4 people. It was like, oh Bryan, you're here, and like
Oh yeah.
I'll be like, what the fuck?
I was like, yeah. The winning team. We're
Every
united.
time we go to game day, it's somebody new who comes out like, hey, it's Bryan. What the hell? How do you do?
Yeah. And like, oh, I'm just here right now. I'll sign autographs later.
But I think that's the thing though. It's just like once you have like a certain community, especially with what you have at Pod, it definitely plays a role with getting to know a lot of people, seeing a lot of people, which I like. You know, I would like is, you know, being close with your community and building friendships. I think that's the thing I've liked so far as powerlifting is making friendships and meeting new people with, you know, similar interests, which is powerlifting, but then you get to know more about them, you know. And it was funny too, because the first time I remember seeing the general manager at game day, Andrew. It was whenever Andrew was helping out at the Collegiate Cup, and it was funny because I was like, I saw the game day shirt and it was purple, and I was like, what the fuck? How do you get that?
Yeah.
And then I found out he's the general manager.
Yeah, like a week after, right?
I was like,
what's the game day? Yeah.
and then next thing you know, every now and then I'll see y'all hanging out with him every now and then, and I'm like, how the fuck? How do y'all know him?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an important thing for me in the gym is community. Not only that, it's kind of like as if you as friends go to the same place often throughout the week. It's just being like, hey, what's up? You know, and having fun, not only lifting but just talking with each other. So, speaking on that, which, what do you look into as far as like a gym for you, other than just Pod in general? What do you look into as far as what you want out of a gym, rather than equipment? But and that's all that matters. He's like, all you need is calibrated plates, colored plates.
I was gonna say, because I'm really comp specific when it comes to training, but one of the reasons is definitely equipment. You know, if they have calibrated plates, certain racks, this and that. But besides that, like the gym owner, I think that's really important too, and the environment I'm in. You know, do these people know like what's up? You know, are they powerlifters or? I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't mind. You know, as long as you know everyone can get along with each other. You know, I really don't mind. But mainly, I want to get to know the owner, and the equipment.
Which is understandable, because I personally I practice how I play. You know, that's always a training thing that I've stuck by to. Is practice how you play. You know, because at the end of the day, you have no excuses. You know, it's like, oh well, I didn't have calibrated plates. You know, I don't know. I just like that. Practice how you
I
play.
understand. Yeah, exactly.
John walks into a new gym. Do you have fucking calibrated plates? do you have an Ohio power bar?
I feel like
You have
it's more
kilo
Bryan
plates?
than John. I feel like Bryan would be the one. Like,
Oh, Brian's the one
you
with
don't
the.
give me these goddamn kilos.
Brian's that type of guy who's like, all right, where the power bars, huh? Where the power bars?
You better tell me you got power bars. You better.
He doesn't need to, because he has his
yeah.
own bar.
He has his own bar
Which
now.
is, by the way, called
Denise.
Denise. Welcome,
Yeah.
Denise. Brings the bar.
We're here.
Our special guest, Denise.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean it's understandable. If you're gonna compete, you know, you would want to have the type of equipment that will be at the competition. You know.
Well, I mean, it's also goes to being charged at a certain rate. You don't want to be charged $80 a month and then you don't have kilo plates
all you guys.
or nice equipment. Like you don't have nice equipment at all. So it doesn't make sense. Like
I'm paying $80 for one combo rack. That's great.
that's like another thing I was kind of just, no offense, but like ready to leave Metro is I was being charged at Metro for $40, and let's be honest, the gym has seen better days. Especially the plates, bro. I mean, there is the rubber 45-pound plate. There was actually, I think there's like 3 of them now. I don't know about now, but there was like 3 of them at a time. They look like they've been bitten off. Like someone just got hungry mid-set, just went like it's hanging by a thread.
I need some quick carbs.
Pretty much, bro. I was sour strips, so I had to eat sour plates.
Oh my god.
But it's like, I get it, the gym has to make money, But it's like, okay, all this money, and where is it going to? I haven't seen new equipment, I haven't seen new plates, I haven't seen new bars, I haven't seen anything new. And that's not to shit on the owner, Dan, or anything. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like being charged $40, well, it's like 43 with taxes and all that, is way too much.
You want to get what you're paying for.
Exactly. And if the gym's not upgrading with new equipment, new plates, new anything, why am I being charged for $43?
Makes sense.
So that's what I had to rant about.
We all know that you love to rant.
What can I say? But is there anything you would like to touch on or to ask us, or vice versa? Is there anything you guys want to ask before we wrap this up?
I have a couple of things, but if Bryan wants to touch on something really quick, we can let him.
I think going back, like way back into our warm-up topic, I just wanted to mention that, PRI is just another, tool in the toolbox to use. And it's not the only thing you should rely on. There's other methods too, of like different stretching and, warm-up things as well. But it is definitely a good, it is a good warm-up to use, in my opinion. You shouldn't rely on it all the time.
Right, and especially if you're like we stated before, PRIs are not necessarily for people who lift. It's for anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done them, look it up. It's not like we said. I mean, it doesn't last longer than a minute. So it's definitely something you should give it a try. Who knows? It might be your favorite routine to do in the morning as you wake up. So. But anyways, carry on.
So I know we were going a lot longer than I thought we were going to be going as we approach the 2.5 hour mark. So we will wrap it up. I wanted to ask you a couple of things. So the first thing, we mentioned a long time ago about how you have a vetting process when it comes to clients.
Have a what?
A vetting process. Like it's almost like an interview. You prereqs.
A routine. Yeah.
Can you maybe explain in a bit more detail, because you kind of touched on it but you didn't really go into it, like what specifically you're looking for when you do that interview process, what you're looking for in your clients, like how you vet them, and just walk us through your process essentially.
So the little mini interview, I really want to know, get to know their background, if they're athletic or not, if you did any sports, and then honestly the main things I want to pinpoint, or if I can pinpoint, is their work ethic, and all that stuff, and their goals in life and lifting, because me personally, all the athletes I've taken in, I want them to have a strong goal. I don't want anyone who I just want to hit, 315 on deads or something like that. I want something more from that. You know, tell me what your big goal is. Like, what do you really want? You know, and you can even say like, I want to go to Nets, and I'll be
That's
like,
what I
okay.
said.
Yeah, and I was like,
I said I
let's-
wanted a podium spot.
and I was like, okay, let's do this. You know, let's go through this journey together. And yeah, I mean, I like people who work hard and want to learn, especially, you know, and that's the main things I'm looking for in the interview is their work ethic, you know. See if it kind of matches mine, but then also the interview is also me getting to know them, you know. And like I said, I love, you know, meeting new people and learning about them and what they think. And so I think learning about people's philosophies during the interview is very important too. You know, not all my clients are the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might have similar goals, like, you know, wanting to be the best, but their approach in life and their morals and all that stuff, or whatever, however deep the convo gets in the interview, you know, all of them are unique, and all of them, I like them. You know, that's why they're on my team, because I genuinely, you know, like them as a person, and then I see great potential in each and every one of them. So that's what's going through my mind, and that's how the process is during the interviews. They're not really, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, most of them can lead up to like an hour or two or half or whatever. Depends how deep, you know, the convo gets. But that's usually what's going through the interview. You know, I'm trying to see, are you determined or not? You know, I want to see who you are as a person. Cause I want them to push me too. You know, I don't want you to be like, you know, the go-to all for knowledge or whatever. You know, cause I don't know everything. You know, there's knowledge everywhere online. That's where I learn. You know, from YouTube, Instagram, reading articles online. You know, it's all info's everywhere. You know, you just have to look for it if you're, you know, if you want to learn, just look for it. Everything's out there. Yeah.
Very nice. Yes, I remember our interview lasted a long time.
Yeah,
I did too.
Ours did too. It lasted about an hour, but I think after that we kind of shot the shit, you know, a little bit.
Yeah. That ends up happening, I guess. My next question is, I don't know if you remember this, but you once told me that you might not be my coach for my entire career because I would essentially what you said, I'm paraphrasing, but you could see like me eventually outgrowing you in terms of, I don't know how you, I'm going to ask you, like, has your confidence changed during that time? Because not that you weren't unconfident, but you definitely made it seem like, hey, you know, I believe that you'll go to Raw Nationals one day. I just don't believe that I'm the person to take you there. Do you still feel that way? Is there ever a time where you're like, you know, essentially, I'm like, you're like somebody's going to graduate from you and go on to somebody else? Is that still something that you believe, something that you think about, or are you more like, no, I can ride with them until the sun sets?
Yeah. So my philosophy is, you know, like going back to like literally what I said, like, you know, just now. I don't know everything. You know, I have a set amount of knowledge that I know in like programming, technique, this and that, and y'all know that I tell y'all to always strive for more info, right? I can't say for sure. Like, I'm definitely like down to keep coaching for a hot bit, for a long time for sure. But you know, I feel like at least right now, you know, if y'all like got like wanted to be even more serious, like, you know, like join, like, I don't know, Team Joey Flex or Sean Noriega or something like that, you know, then I can understand, because that's good. You guys want to see and seek more info. And, you know, I'm already proud as is from the progress you guys have been making, but the reason why I said, like, you know, that you guys would probably, maybe or not, go with another coach is because they will have more keys to like success, you know. Like me personally, I'm not super confident about diet, like, at all. I know, you know, relatively a general knowledge of, you know, diet, nutrition, all that stuff. But like I mentioned to y'all, if you want like diet or something, talk to someone else, or but I do try to provide as much info as I can to y'all. But I wouldn't say it's a confidence thing. It was just me, could be underlying confidence, who knows? But I never thought about it as that at all. Because I've always wanted y'all to strive for the best. But I would say like right now, if you wanted to be, like if you got all in, like go jump in the boat and you want to go to Nats or be with a bigger team, then I can understand like why, you're going to another coach or something like that, It's totally respectable. Yeah.
So to add on top of that, do you think you'll ever be on that level of like with Joey Flex or some of the big names?
I was gonna ask that. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Or
amazing coaches that I know, they're that super big, like Joey Flex. So some coaches at Pod, they're phenomenal with what they do and how they teach and how they approach things to their clients, and I'm definitely always trying to learn and be better than yesterday. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely gonna be coaching for a long time, I would say, because I definitely don't want to give it up. And I know myself, like I'm a powerlifter for a long time too. It's fun. I love it. But seeing myself as one of the bigs, I can't say. I can't answer that.
Well, let me ask you this then: do you want to be?
Yeah, it's something that you would care enough to like. Not necessarily care enough like, oh, I don't care about my lifters being great, but like,
No. My answer would be no.
You don't want to be?
Because I don't need to. Like, I just get satisfaction from, my athletes being happy. That's good enough for me.
So it's like, with that situation with you, it's like, oh, if it happens, it happens. If not, I'm not going to care. Not care, but like, you're not going to dwell on it, if you don't make a big name for yourself.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Like to be on the level of like Joey Flex and all that. Okay. Like if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, you're not gonna be like, oh, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, I'll be the same me. Yeah. Probably just if I got famous like Joey Flex, I just have more followers. That's it. Right. I'm still gonna post the same stuff. Who knows? Might get a sponsorship.
No.
But who knows? I don't know.
But I think like when people think of Joey Flex, they think this is like he's a top tier coach. Like people know who he is because he's a great coach and because his roster is so deep and stacked. Exactly. Do you ever see yourself having that level of notoriety in the sport? I think it's more the question I think he was trying to ask. Because like if you think about like what about Steve DeNovi, right? We know Steve DeNovi because now 2i Lights is kind of blowing up and stuff, but like he's been around for years. Or maybe like Brad Couillard. So he's like a very underground. He doesn't even post anything, but like his roster is really good, but people probably don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Joey Flex, Marcellus, TSG, TSA. Who are some other guys? I don't know. Anyway, like these guys are like they're known because they have like a big reputation. Do you see yourself? Is that something that you want? Because it's not just an ego thing necessarily. It could be like, yeah, I mean, I do damn good work. I should be recognized as somebody who does good work. Or is there, or maybe less like, there's a pride, like Team Joey Flex, right? Like there's a pride at like having you be so good at your job that people want to be part of your team. And they'll pay you like $200 a month to do it. Or like Team Nori, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I'm not looking for that type of stuff. If it happens, by like chance or something like that, then it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not looking for that. Like like I said, the satisfaction I get is from like the success from my athletes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have my own life, man.
Yeah.
So like I already got enough to like focus on my play, my future, my career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Going to school, all that stuff. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, you mentioned that this is kind of like a hobby, coaching. Do you see it ever being your life? You become a powerlifting coach, that's your job? Or do you always see it as, hey, I'm gonna do what I came here to Texas State to do, that's my career, and then this will always, forever be my side gig?
It'll probably be a side gig for the most part, because I definitely want to go into PT and maybe down the line even teach, because I think I like teaching. But I mean, in general, all of those like coaching, being like, let's say if I become a PT, like a teacher or something like that, like I'm helping people. That's kind of what I want, honestly. That's what I want to do in life. I just want to help in general.
Well,
So I mean, coaching, I don't think I can see myself like full time at all. I want PT to be the main thing, and then maybe teacher later on or something like that. But no, I don't think coaching is gonna be full time at all. No.
you don't think it could go in tie in with your PT? Like for
Oh
example,
no, that's why I like, because I like to like help out like the whole population, general population, different athletes, this and that.
Yeah.
When it comes to regular people, or like athletes or sedentary people, or and but no, it'll definitely leach into like my work, teaching, all that stuff. What I learned from coaching, I can maybe communicate better with the students or something like that, and with my patients. So all of it ties in together, in my opinion, or how I see things in the future. It'll tie in, So yeah,
makes sense.
I think
There is one question I do want to ask before we wrap it up. We ask this for every guest. What is the future like? What is the future like for you ahead of time, competing wise, or coaching wise? Actually, we can add on to the coach. Do you plan on expanding your roster? Obviously, not anytime soon, but like maybe eventually down the line. Well, and then on top of that, like with the meets and stuff, like with your future meets, like what are your future competitions, and what do you have planned for the future?
Yeah, so I can fully say this or confidently say this, that I'm definitely gonna keep powerlifting. I'm trying to look like a badass, if I'm a teacher or PT.
Damn.
No, I'm definitely gonna be powerlifting for a while. It's fun, competing is fun too, beating your old numbers, trying to be the better version of yourself every single day. I think that's really fun and interesting. Coaching roster, honestly, probably a max of 10 to 15.
okay.
Yeah, we'll see, but yeah, maybe 10 to 15.
Okay.
Who knows? That could change.
Is there any future meets you plan on competing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Galicia Cup, Nats for sure. Open Nats, all that
Worlds.
stuff.
Do you have anything on your plate in the next 6 months? Because I know you and I talked about it, that you were, was it you who I was talking with who said you're going to do a meet in June?
That's
June,
the deal.
yeah, that was me.
Oh, that's
So what, are you locked it in yet? Or
Not yet.
are you-
I have talked to Matt about it, and he said he was down for it, so I just gotta pick a meet now.
Okay. Do you have any ideas?
I haven't looked yet. Somewhere in June.
Okay.
June, July. Yeah.
Oh, so you're just like Gil. Gil wants to compete. He doesn't want to wait. Which is, I don't blame you guys. I don't blame you guys at all. But me doing meets back to back, I'm drained. Damn. I am drained. Because I competed in November and then I competed in February. So I am drained. But I understand you guys are ready to get back at it again. I was like that after my November meet. I was like, dude, I want to compete again. But now after this meet, I was like, man, some margaritas in the sun on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds nice right now. A little vacay, a little back-to-back first place.
Yeah, damn.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But that's actually exciting. I'm actually excited to see you compete, sooner than I thought. 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought you were just I thought you were sitting stone in C Cup. But that's actually will give me something to do in the summer, Dave. So
Maybe I'll show up with a clipboard at your meet, bro.
It's actually all three of us with a clipboard. It's like, hey, what do you have for the first one? What 600 opener?
Whoa!
All of you guys have foam rollers.
No, yeah. Like Bryan. With the bands too.
Yeah,
In the crowd. Bryan, foam roll.
PRI.
Don't forget to breathe.
But yeah.
But yeah, going back to your question, roster probably 10 or 15, just because if I have a main job as a PT, I probably won't. I'll be busy.
Oh yeah, of course.
But PT wise, definitely want to get into PT school, become a PT, probably specialize in neuro. I think I find that really interesting. And then probably like go on from there, like maybe invest into becoming a teacher.
Okay.
I don't know. I've always liked teaching, and some I've had study groups, and some of my friends and other people, they were like, you should push on becoming a teacher or something like that. And I've thought about it, and I took like one of those personality tests or whatever. Like, oh, you're an architect. It's like a green wizard or something like that. And then like top job I got was like teacher, and I was like, what the heck?
So is it like a teacher as in like a professor at a university, or?
I mean, I don't know what I would teach probably university. From what I've like experienced so far, I think university is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess it's like a sense of freedom. I guess like you can teach your own style,
Exactly.
and teach how what helped you, and then you can obviously pass that down to your students. Be like, hey, I did this during my days of college, So I think that university allows more freedom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, one final question, unless Matt has another question.
No, I was just only listening.
Okay.
It's 15.
15. That's it.
All right, right now.
Square root of okay. Sorry.
Is there anything that would happen to you or in your life it would just get so incredibly crowded that you is there ever going to be a point where you're like, I have to stop, I have to drop all my clients, I can't do this anymore? Like, I'm sure like maybe you felt overwhelmed, but like, do you think, like, what would it take to get you to retire essentially?
Having 5 kids.
That's a heavy question. Actually.
That is his 5 clients.
5 kids.
For me to drop everyone, maybe something really bad happened, like I'm fucking paralyzed. I don't know, like
guys.
Okay.
I'm getting sued by one of my clients.
Don't forget to warm up. Send. I don't know. No, me. I mean, realistically, like me, maybe getting like stressed out when I had 10. I don't think I would drop. I'm not the type of person to. I always try. I literally have that quote, "Always try," on my whiteboard, like in my apartment bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah, because I feel like people should always try in life. With anything, don't just give up right away. You should always push towards your goal. But I can't see myself dropping all my clients unless something disastrous happens, like I die or something. Probably.
Well, if you die, I don't think you're dropping anything except dead.
But something really bad has to happen. But I wouldn't like drop y'all. Yeah, for sure.
That's good to know.
I would definitely like reach out and say something or post about.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, I'm like a little stressed out or something like that.
So hey guys, I'm dropping you.
But
you have a week to find a coach.
Oh my
Here's your
God.
last week.
Oh my gosh, the last week. No, but I wouldn't drop anyone, honestly. And if I was stressed out again, I would try and manage everything in my life, to make it happen.
Yeah, maybe take like a step back or something, breathe a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Man.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Brian's here for the long haul. He has been a very gracious guest. We've been going for, again, way longer than I thought we were going to be going for, but that's great. We had some great conversation. And it's been another episode of the Calibrated Cast. Is there anything you'd like to say, Brian, before we officially wrap up?
I just want to say that I appreciate y'all having me here, and that I had a really good time. Good topics were brought up, and I look forward to seeing more episodes from you guys. So.
We look forward to having you back on the show, as we most definitely will. maybe even for another solo episode. We don't know.
We don't know.
Because, me and you and all of us, I guess, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired as hell right now. Me and John are very much connected to you. So it seems kind of, inevitable that you'll come back. There you go. That's the show. You can follow us. We finally have an Instagram and a YouTube channel. The last episode was posted on our YouTube channel, but this is the first episode we've officially had it. So you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, the Calibrated Cast, for more episodes in the future, and follow Calibrated Cast on Instagram to keep up with some maybe behind the scenes stuff. We probably should start posting something.
Yeah.
We'll find some goodies to post. You can follow John
At Latissimus__prime.
Matt.
You can follow me at William at BILLEAMM.
You can follow me at SXBERTOOTH or Sabertooth with an X _. And our gracious guest, Bryan, where can they find you?
Y'all can find me on Instagram at b.v.winbvwin.
There you go, folks. Follow him. He's got great content. Follow us, and we'll see you.
And the next episode actually is going to be a juicy one, so stay tuned on that episode. It's going to be a very long one and interesting one, if I do say so myself. Got big plans for that. It's going to be a different setting. Obviously, I don't think we can fit it.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
No. So just be aware. It's going to be in a different setting, and most likely at my place. So
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes and ears open for that, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.
Being